ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुः येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you in today's session. So we continue our discussion. This is the last part of chapter 25, the glories of devotional service. And yesterday we have seen till text 33. So in yesterday's discussion, going ahead from the section where Bhakti's superiority is mentioned. So we discussed about Swarup Lakshana verses of Sadhu, who is a Sadhu, his Swarup Lakshanas. Then we also discussed how finally everything is rooted in Sadhu Sangha. So Sadhu Sangha leading to the stages like Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. So we saw that. Then we discussed about how, just a minute, how Jnana and Yoga, these are also, they need Bhakti. Then Mother Devahuti, she asked three more questions to Kapila Muni. So one question is about Uchita Bhakti, the proper devotion. Another question about Yoga and another about Jnana. So now this second question of Devahuti, which is about proper devotional service, Uchita Bhakti, that is being answered. So in that answer, we saw that we saw how this particular verse, first verse in that Devanam Gunalinganam Anushravika Karmanam, this is actually giving the definition of Uttama Bhakti or Nirguna Bhakti. So we discussed in detail on this verse, what do these every word of this verse, what does it mean? Satve ekamanasaha vritti svabhaviki asvabhaviki animitta bhagavati. So all these aspects, and how this bhakti also generates the aspect of liberation as secondary goal. Ananusamhitam phalam, anusamhitam phalam, ananusamhitam. Primary fruit and secondary fruit. So Bhakti's primary fruit has been described as the love of Godhead. And the secondary fruit is the aspect of liberation. So liberation in the sense not that a devotee goes to Brahmajyoti and attains Brahma Sayuja or something. No. Liberation in the sense of cessation of material existence. Destruction of the subtle body. See, when gross body is destroyed, that is called death. When subtle body is destroyed, that is called liberation. So this is the liberation. So that destruction of subtle body, how it is caused by bhakti process, that was discussed in text 33. Jarayatyashu yakosham nigirnam analovyatha. So we discussed this verse also, that how bhakti process actually it destroys the subtle body slowly. Destroys the subtle body means you understand that the material component of subtle body is finished completely. The attachments and everything is gone. So a completely spiritualized mind, spiritualized intelligence, spiritualized chitta, spiritualized ego is attained at the level of Jivan Mukti. But still, that aspect of material subtle body, if one has to get rid of it completely, one is spiritualized and another is spiritual. There is difference between these two. You can take an iron and heat it and make it into red hot iron, and then it is fire. But still, it is not fire also. Because if you allow it to cool down, then it will again become iron. So fire is different and a fiery iron rod is different. Similarly, a spiritualized mind is different, which is the level of Jivan Mukti. And a spiritual body, which is a complete organic unity of whatever mind and all such functions, that is actually different. uh, it's a different substance altogether. So that's why we have to understand that even though spiritual master or like that, they have a gross body, right? And then we see that that gross body dwindles, it decays, and it falls apart in the end. So is it spiritual body or is it material body? The body of the guru or the body of the pure devotee, will we call it spiritual? Will we call it material? We will call it actually spiritualized body. But because the upadan, the constitution is material, that's why it will undergo the material aspect. It will dwindle, it will decay, it will fall apart. Why? Because finally, the constitution is material. We have to know it. It has become spiritual by its usage. It is like that iron rod which is in fire, that way. So that's why, in that sense, it is spiritual. But still, it the transcendental body is altogether different. It is a substance which is transcendental over there. So, of course, one thing is that the guru or somebody like Prabhupada, we know that they are accepting this body by their own will or by Krishna's will. It is not forced upon them. It is their compassion because of which they are accepting that kind of material body uh, this way. But yeah, you have to understand things in proper understanding. Otherwise, sometimes we may say, "Oh, spiritual master's body is spiritual." Yeah, it is spiritual, but it is spiritual by utility. It is not spiritual by constitution. Uh, because if it was spiritual by constitution, then why is it decaying? Why is it falling apart? Why is it disintegrating? Somebody may say that's a material vision. If that is a material vision, provided if you think that, well, my spiritual master, because of his own karma and all, he got material body, and that's why it is decaying and falling apart. That is material vision. But if one understands that, no, whatever, my spiritual master or Prabhupada is a resident of spiritual master, resident of spiritual world, but by Lord's own will, by Krishna's own will, they have accepted this material body. So because the constitution is material, so it will take its toll. But spiritual master is beyond that body. He is the resident of spiritual world. So that's why uh, things have to be understood in proper spirit. Otherwise, then sometimes, the bewilderment is there. Oh, why is this happening to Guru Maharaj? Why is this happening to Prabhupada? If it's a spiritual body, this way. So you understand, when especially these acharyas come in the material world, so they do accept a material body for the sake of showing to the conditioned souls that how they show that example of bhakti. Bhakti Vinod Thakur had a very sickly body. All throughout his life, he was very sick actually. Uh, But then, even though accepting such a body, we see that what sort of devotion he showed, right? What sort of example of bhakti, extraordinary example of bhakti that he showed. So that's the purpose for which they accept this sort of encumbrance. Although they are manjaris in the spiritual world, they are having all those aspects. So that's why at the level of Jivan Mukta, you may have a completely spiritualized subtle body and completely spiritualized gross body because it is not being used for any sort of sense gratification, completely for Krishna's service. That is there. So that's called spiritualized body. So when one gives up that body and attains the spiritual world by accepting the spiritual body, that is called videha mukti. Videha mukti, vigata deha. You have given up the material body, or vishesha deha. Both meanings are there you have attained the Vishesh Deha, special body, that is called Videha. This way. So, in this way, this verse is also talking about the aspect of Jarayati, subtle body's destruction, dissolving or burning, literally, Jarayati means burning. So that aspect is also spoken over here. Okay. So now next four verses, as we spoke yesterday, next four verses talk about Bhava Bhakti or Prema Bhakti, you could say Bhava Prema, fine, which is caused by Vaidhi Bhakti, Vaidha Bhaktyutha Bhava Bhakti, Bhava Bhakti, which is generated by practice of Vaidha Bhakti. That's what is the point of next four verses. They are discussing this Bhakti. So let's see these verses now. Okay, yes. नैकात्मतां मे स्पृहयन्ति केचिन् मत्पादसेवाभिरता मदीहाः येऽन्योन्यतो भागवतः प्रसज्य सभा जयन्ते मम पौरुषाणि. Yes, please read, anyone.
A pure devotee who is attached to the activities of devotional service and who always engages in the service of my lotus feet never desires to become one with me. Such a devotee who is unflinchingly engaged always glorifies my pastimes and activities.
Yeah. So you can say, when talking about Vaidhi Bhakti's Bhava Bhakti, in the sense Bhava Bhakti generated by Vaidhi Bhakti, 35, 34, 35, 36, 37. Four verses are going to talk about this. Swabhaviki Bhakti, which is born of Vaidha Sadhan Bhakti, Vaidhi. So Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti means what? Basically, it is born of only Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti. You understand here. It is not that it is Vaidhi and then it turns into Raganuga and then Bhava. No. These four verses are talking about out and out Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti leading to Bhava Bhakti. So that is what is called as also Aishwarya Bhakti, or the Bhakti in which there is this Raganuga element never comes there. But what we are trying to practice is Vaidhi Bhakti, that which leads to Raganuga. And then from that Raganuga, there is Bhava, which is generated, Bhava Bhakti, that way. So anyway, both these Bhava Bhaktis are very exalted. Whether it is exclusive Vaidhi Bhakti leading to that, or whether it is Vaidhi and then Raganuga and then Bhava. Both, the standard of Bhava Bhakti is anyway Swabhaviki. It is natural. It is very spontaneous. Only difference is what? One has Shastra Peksha and another does not have Shastra Peksha. What does that mean? One particular bhakti, which is Vaidhi Bhakti's uh, Bhava Bhakti, which is generated from Vaidhi Bhakti, the aspect of the knowledge of Shastra and receiving that knowledge of Shastra, and the discussion based on knowledge of Shastra, the inspiration based on knowledge of Shastra, that aspect is very, very prominent in Vaidhi Bhakti. And even if it goes to Bhava, so that aspect is very prominent. While in Raganuga, we see that it's a very spontaneous attachment for Krishna. So we see that the dependence on Shastras and the knowledge of Shastras to feel inspired to serve the Lord, that goes away so much. It's not there. It's not like, again, don't misunderstand it to mean that these Raganuga devotees don't read Shastra. No, that's not the point. The point is that their inspiration of bhakti is now kindled within. It is not so much coming from the external source of knowledge of Shastra that you have to hear in that way. And secondly, it's also about the mood. The Raganuga's mood is of actually a madhurya, in the sense that it will not have this attitude that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So right now, when we worship Krishna, we do think Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? But at the level of Raganuga, this conception goes away, that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. No. There, then one starts approaching Krishna like Sambandhanuga or like Kamanuga, which means like one's own son or one's friend or one's, uh, master, like Raktaka, Patraka. They approach Krishna like that. Or then finally in Kamanuga, one approaches Krishna as one's beloved. One approaches Krishna as beloved of Radharani, and one considers himself as a servant of Radharani. So one thinks that Krishna is actually the beloved of my master. Uh, so in that sense, the whole aspect of Aishwarya Gyan goes in the background. Uh, it is cultivated like that, this way. But in Vaidhi Bhakti, you cultivate the knowledge of supremacy of the Lord. Uh, to the degree that knowledge is cultivated, to that degree we see that there is that bhakti has the steadiness, that bhakti has the aspect of great reverence for Krishna, and uh, that love and that all those aspects, they stem from the knowledge of Krishna's supremacy, this way. So that's the defining difference between two processes actually. The knowledge of Aishwarya becomes very, very important on Vaid Sadhan Bhakti. Even though one may achieve Bhava or that platform, they continue to derive the inspiration from that aspect always, of Krishna's glories mentioned in the Shastras, based on various Shastras, supremacy of the Lord, the glory of the Lord, the Aishwarya, and that feature. So we see that this sort of bhakti is there in Vaikuntha, or even in Dwarka in some proportion, uh, and all other usually planets wherever Aishwarya is prominent. So when you talk about this sort of bhakti, so what is the defining factor of this bhakti? So what is defining factor is that these devotees, they do not have any desire for liberation. Moksha laghutakrit, Rupa Goswami also says. So you understand the discussion of this verse, what is happening? Why do these four verses describe Bhava Bhakti, which is coming from Vaidha Sadhana Bhakti? How do you know that? Why do you say like that? So you say like that because of what? You can see, I am reading from the commentary here. Lakshanam Uktva, having spoken the Lakshana characteristic of Nirguna Bhakti, Udaharanam Ah. Now the example is being given. I'm explaining this verse now, text 34. So Udaharan is being given now. How do these devotees think, or what is their consciousness? So the example is being given by Saptabhi. 7 verses give the example. Prathamam Svabhavikya Bhava Bhakte He Udaharana. So first 4 verses in that give the example of Bhava Bhakti, which is caused by the Vaidha Sadhan Bhakti. He will explain that difference in the next verse, 38th verse, where he says that now we are talking about Raganuga. Before we talked about Bhava Bhakti caused by Vaidhi Bhakti. So anyway, so why do these 4 verses talk about Vaidhi Bhakti leading to Bhava Bhakti? Why? So you see, animitta iti etat sahetukam spashtayati. Because the greatest quality of this bhakti, which is Bhava Bhakti, which is caused by Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti, the greatest quality is animitta over there. That this bhakti is devoid of any impersonal motive, any motive, in fact, of any sort. So, ahaituki, animitta, it means the same. So, that there is no nimitta to perform this bhakti, means there is no motivation, selfish kind of motivation to perform this bhakti. So now what they do, what Kapila does is, he shows that these devotees don't have even the desire for liberation. So forget about any other selfish kind of motivation. huh? So in that way, these four verses are spoken. Moksha लघुताकृत. अगर मोक्ष ही लघु बना दिया, मोक्ष को ही लघुता दे दी, if the moksha, the sayujya becomes insignificant, then what to speak of the material pleasures? See, sometimes because we don't come from that cultural background of Shastras, so we may wonder, oh, moksha is a greater pleasure, or sense enjoyment is a greater pleasure, right? Uh, because the that kind of background is not there, where the Shastras so much they glorify moksha, 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 moksha everywhere. Uh, so we may wonder that, okay, what sort of we meaning? I mean to say, especially not all of you devotees, but especially those who are new readers to the Bhagavatam, they may feel like, okay, I want to show the superiority of Bhava Bhakti. So what I do, I show that how these Bhava Bhaktas, they don't desire even for moksha. So what to speak of moksha, what to speak of material pleasures then? So this approach itself may be little surprising, because people see material pleasures as the highest benediction. But actually, moksha is considered a much higher benediction than the. Just a minute, I'm a little bit disturbed by some messages around here, so I'll just close this. Yeah. All right. So, animitta, that characteristic is actually showing that if moksha, it gains laghuta because of bhakti, the moksha becomes insignificant. So, what to speak of material pleasures, like pleasures of dhanam, janam, sundarim, and all that in this world. So they practically they are non-existent. The moksha is also insignificant. So that's why this aspect they are talking now, that these devotees, what naikatmatam me sprahayanti kechin. So these devotees, they never ever desire ekatmata. Na ekatmata kechit sprahayanti. So they never ever desire to merge into impersonal oneness, impersonal Brahmajyoti, the light. So why do they not want to merge? Because matpada seva bhi rata madiha. Because actually they desire only me. They desire only my pleasure. Madiha. So which means that they are only iha. This desire is only for me, nothing else. They only want me. And why do they want Lord to fulfill some material desires? No. They want Lord to only please the Lord. They desire Krishna so that they can please Krishna in this way. Somebody may also desire Krishna, but what is the purpose? Is it selfish purpose, or is it the pleasure of Krishna? That's all. Krishna Preeti. So whatever we do in our bhakti, we do it for Krishna Preeti. Preeti means pleasure. In Sanskrit, Preeti means pleasure. So Krishna Preetaye, Krishna Prityartham Karomi. Devotees, they always will say, they don't say even Krishna Arpanamastu. No, we don't just do Arpanam. Krishna Prityartham Karomi. That's the phrase of the Gaudiyas. Krishna Prityartham. Krishna ki priti ke liye. That way. So that is Madiha. Iha, that desire is only for the Lord. So Matpada Seva Bhirata. So what these devotees basically, they want to serve Krishna and please Krishna's senses, Krishnendriya Priti Vancha, Dhare Premanam. And then there is this very nice word here, Abhirata. So you can see, Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Abhirata means what? Shastrabhimukhyena rata, uh, atyasaktimanta. So these devotees, rata means rati, they have love for Krishna, they have love for, you could say, Lord Narayana, Vishnu. But that is abhirata, which means abhimukhyena, which means actually it is very much based on Shastra. Shastrabhimukhyena. Do you understand? So that this aspect is actually distinguishing that factor of that this knowledge, it has Shastra Peksha. It has the expectation or inspiration based on Shastras, the knowledge of Shastras. That's a quite a prominent thing in a Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakta, this aspect of knowledge of Shastra, like that. And that's why they are said to be Abhirata in that way. Uh, the aspect of Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti, a great inspiration within that comes from the knowledge of Shastra, discussion of Shastra, very much on that point, this way. So it is a process which is very much based upon Shravanam and Kirtanam, like that. Of course, Raganuga is also not devoid of Shravanam Kirtanam. Krishnot Kirtana Gana, we see that Utkirtana is there even in that. But there is also this great element of Smaranam over there. There is so much of cultivation of inside Seva Sadhaka Rupena, Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. There is external service where one is rendering all the bhakti rules and regulations very wonderfully. One is following Guru's instructions, one is following the preaching service and everything. And Seva Sadhak Rupena, Siddha Rupena Chatrahi. And inside one is also cultivating that same Guru's other instruction of, worshipping Krishna with a certain mood and all that. So those are the higher aspects of Raganuga Bhakti that are spoken in by Gaudiya Vaishnava Paddhati. But the point is, yes, we see that that element of Smaranam is extremely powerful in Raganuga. Hmm? While the process of Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakta, it primarily depends upon this aspect of scripture and scriptural knowledge, and that inspiration remains always based on the Shastra and Shastric knowledge this way. So, ये अन्योन्यतः भागवतः प्रसज्य sabha jayante mama paurushani. So that's why, what do these devotees do? They come together and mutually they actually are very, very delighted to discuss Bhagavata, I mean to discuss mama paurushani, to discuss my glorious activities, my stupendous activities, full of my prowess and love for devotees. Sabha Jayante. So they literally worship these by glorifying this Mama Paurushani. So this great powerful aspect of Shravanam and Kirtanam, uh, that is very much powerful there in this particular this way, in this particular process. So you can see that the aspect of animitta, that this the object of this bhakti is only Lord and nothing else. Lord and Lord, that's it. Bhakter Bhagavad Vishayatvam. Bhagwan ही विषय है इसका. And it is Sarvendriya Vritti Rupam. This bhakti is rendering service by all one's senses. Karma Jnanadi Rahityam. It is free from karma and jnana and all that. And it is Shastranusaritvam. It is actually very much in following of Shastra. And Svabhavikatvam. See, such beautiful qualities he is mentioning, Vishwanath Chakrabarti, of this Bhava Bhakti caused by Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti. What is this? Bhagavad Vishayatvam. The only object of this bhakti is Bhagavan. Sarvendriya Vritti Rupatvam. All the senses are functional in service of the Lord. Karma jnanadi rahityam. It is free from karma jnana or like that. Aishwarya bhakti is also free from karma jnana. Remember, it is also kevala bhakti. Sometimes some devotees have this misconception that they think Vaikuntha's bhakti is not kevala bhakti. Only raga nuga bhakti is kevala bhakti. No, that is not right. It is also kevala bhakti. Karma jnanadi rahityam. So karma, jnana, these things are not there. It is also nirguna bhakti. It's just that it is that specific flavor of Aishwarya. It is shastranusaritvam. It is having this aspect of very much dependent on the inspiration of the Shastra, and swabhavikatva. Finally, it is also swabhavik. This way, it is without effort. It is natural. This way. So these devotees also, in this way, we see that they glorify Lord's pastime. Shri Govardhanodharanadi Lilamritani Sabhajayante. They glorify pastimes of the Lord, like even sometimes there are worshippers of Krishna who also worship Krishna we know that they worship Krishna by glorifying the Aishwarya aspects of Krishna, and typically even Madhva Sampradaya devotees and all. Krishna worship is there, but it is not on the Raganuga level, right? It is completely on Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti level that they worship the Supreme Lord this way. So that's why they may also discuss these pastimes and all that. This is there. So why do they not get attracted to Brahma Sukha? Three reasons. Vishnu Chakravarti says, you see, Hetutraya, तीन हेतु बताए गए हैं, तीन प्रयोजन बताए हैं. Why these devotees never become attracted to Brahma Sukha? So what is this? First is Charana Seva Ananda Abhavat. पहले तो भगवान के चरणों की सेवा का आनंद नहीं है. In that Brahman liberation, Sayujya, first and foremost, there is no service there. So that's why these devotees never desire that. Second, Saundarya Saurabhya Adi Anubhava Bhavat. Okay, there is no service of the Lord, but is there some scope of at least seeing or perceiving the qualities of the Lord, like Saundarya, Lord's beauty? So one may meditate on that beauty. Saurabhya, the fragrance of Lord's body. Saukantya, the Sausvarya, meaning how Lord speaks, his words are like so beautiful. As soon as one hears those words, our heart is just so satisfied. Although it is Mega Gambhiraya Vacha, although the words are actually, they resound like a rumbling of a cloud, but still they are extraordinarily sweet also. Manodnyaya, they are like so pleasing to the heart to hear the Vani of the Lord. So there is no perception of Lord's qualities in Brahman. So this is second reason why they never desire. These devotees never desire to merge in Brahman. And third is, if there is no perception of qualities only, then what Leela will be there? Leelamrita Swadhana Abhavat. So there is lack of the pastimes, there is lack of perception of qualities, and there is lack of service. So these are the three reasons Vishwanath Chakravarti says that these devotees, they don't never ever desire that ekatmata in this way. So all these qualities are there even in Raganuga Bhakti. It's not like in Raganuga these qualities are not there. Raganuga also includes these qualities, but still this is being referred to Vaidhi Bhakti's Bhava Bhakti especially from that aspect of Shastranu Saritvam. It is very much rooted and inspired by the Shastras, the Shastric knowledge, and that aspect remains throughout all the while. It remains for the practitioner this way. That intensity of love like Raganuga, where It is a very intense love. It's a very spontaneous and extremely direct love for Krishna. So that sort of thing will not be there in Vaikuntha, although it is also very ecstatic kind of love, no doubt. But the Aishwarya aspect and all those, they will remain this way. So that's why we see that these devotees, they don't desire. So, Prabhupada, there are 5 kinds of liberation stated in the scriptures. So you all know that. One is to become one. One is to become one with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sayujya. This is called Ekatmata. A devotee never accepts this kind of liberation. A pure devotee, as will be explained by Kapila Muni, does not aspire for any of the 5 liberations. So, as Vaishnavas, especially as Gaudiyas, we don't even desire for those 4 kinds of liberation. So, if you know these terms, these terms are there in the Bhakti Samrit Sindhu. Sukhaishwaryottara and Prema Sevottara. Now, what is this? See, this is 2 types of bhakti. So, Sukhaishwaryottara, in this, bhakti is prominent. Bhakti is very prominent, but the desire for moksha, desire for 4 mokshas, those 4 mokshas are there, no? That is also prominent. देखो सायुज्य तो सवाल ही नहीं है. These Sukheshwaryottara devotees, they have desire for pleasing the Lord, but they also have desire for those 4 mokshas, either one of those or 4 of them, whatever. And they want, in their bhakti, they also want to attain the Samipya Mukti, Salokya Mukti, Sarshti, or Sarupya, Salokya, Sarshti, all of them, Samipya. So this desire is prominently there in their heart. So this is called Sukhaishwaryottara Bhakti. And then there is another Prema Sevottara, where the bhakti is very, very prominent. It is extremely prominent. And desire for 4 mokshas is actually extremely weak. It is very, very weak. So, Sukhaishwaryottara and Prema Sevottara, these both kinds of devotees go to Vaikuntha, meaning they can attain Vaikuntha. They are qualified to attain Vaikuntha. So, you can see this bhakti, that means, is a prominent bhakti there. That's why they are becoming qualified to attain Vaikuntha. So, although they have desire for 4 mokshas, but it is so much connected with service of the Lord that Lord accepts them in the spiritual world. Prema Sevottara devotees, they also have a great desire to please the Lord. And the desire for 4 mokshas is like very feeble. But the devotees who are like especially Rup Goswami, he tells us in the Bhakti Samit Sindhu, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are neither Sukhaishwaryottara, we are neither Prema Sevottara. We are not any of these. So we are desirers of completely only Krishna Priti and nothing else actually. That's the standard of our bhakti. What does that mean? The devotee may not even desire to go back home, back to Godhead. He does not even desire for Salokya kind of moksha where he gets to stay with the Lord. He is only desirous of pleasing Krishna. See, even if somebody desires to go back home, back to Godhead, that is in connection with Krishna. But as a Gaudiya Vaishnava, Jiva Goswami or Vishwanath Chakravarti also in further verses, he says that this thought of going back home, back to Godhead is not there also in the prominently in the mind. It's just like Krishna Priti. I mean, it's a very lofty standard actually. It's extremely lofty standard that Rup Goswami is speaking. And this is there in the first wave of Purva Vibhag only, Bhakti Samit Sindhu, you can study. Uh, so this aspect where uh, even the minor desire of four mokshas is also rejected, and uh, one just wants to please Krishna. And if Krishna wants me to take back home back to Godhead, all right. If he doesn't want, I won't even consider that thought. Huh? And then you see that's why the prayers like Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatad Bhakti Rahetu Ki Tvai, or even Bhagavatam is in that spirit where Parikshit is praying, what is that? Bhuyascha Bhagavati.
Shubhya.
What's the verse? I forgot the verse.
Punasya bhuyad bhagavati
Punascha
aradhya.
Bhuyad Bhagavati. Yeah, that's the verse basically. Punascha Bhuyad. That's the verse. Or, even Vritrasur, he prays like that also, right? Mama Uttama Shloka Janeshu Sakyam, he says. Because initially he was praying Aham Hare Tava Padaikamulo Dasanu Daso Bhavitasmin. When will I attain your lotus feet, my Lord, and I become the servant of your servants in spiritual world? That's what is the sense of that prayer. Uh, but then he thought that how can I ask such a thing? It is such a big thing that I am asking, that I may be accepted in Lord's assembly along with his servants as servant of servant. So then that's why he prayed in the fourth verse. He prayed that I just ask for, friendship with your devotees wherever. Samsara chakre bhramata swakarmam. Even if I have to go ahead in the cycle of birth and death, wherever because of my karma. Why? So that sort of aspect of only pleasing Krishna, and of course pleasing Krishna means Krishna's devotees also. Krishna Priti. Uh, so this aspect is very prominently there in the devotees, especially what to speak of the ideal of devotional service taught by our acharyas, taught by Shastra only, but extracted by our acharyas. This way, you go to Sri Vaishnavas and all, they will not speak like this. If you consider the muktis like Salokya, Samipya, so that desire also is being treated as not a worthy desire. This idea is, it's just not known, or it is not there in the mind of Sri Sampradaya or Madhva Sampradaya and these devotees. No, they think like these are proper bona fide muktis. So why you have to talk about okay, we don't even desire this that way. So yes, it is in category of Sukha Ishwaryottara, or it is in category of Prema Sevottara. But the kind of bhakti that the acharyas are extracting from the shastras is actually just complete kevala bhakti, in the sense that there is absolutely no desire for any other purpose, this like purposes of even the other muktis this way. So what to speak of kaivalyam narakayate, this way. There are many so-called devotees who think that in the conditioned state, we may worship the personality of Godhead, but ultimately there is no personality. So that is Sayujya, right? So Sayujya is just, you can imagine how far it is. Ekatmata is never ever desired by the devotees this way. So if somebody is desiring Ekatmata by practice of bhakti, that is called Satviki bhakti then. It is not a Nirguna bhakti. Then it comes on the level of Sattva Guna Bhakti, Satviki Bhakti. It will come in the next chapter. So you desire Sayujya Moksha, then it is Satviki Bhakti. You desire the other four kinds of moksha, then it is either Sukheshwaryottara or Prema Sevottara. And when you don't desire any kind of mukti, then we see that it is the highest bhakti. At least it will be called Kevala, but within Kevala, you also accept this because Vaikuntha's bhakti is also called Kevala. But this is like a subtlest understanding of that Kevala bhakti. where we see that this Uttama Bhakti standard is just no desire for any of those kind of liberations. So anyway, these liberations and these things somewhat maybe sometimes not so relevant for us because we hardly understand those. But by this, what we can understand is, so how much the material desires and the desire for fulfillment of material desires is condemned or is insignificant in bhakti. And that is something which is relevant to us, right? Because we may be practicing bhakti, but still at the back of the mind, there may be some material desires. We may desire the fame in bhakti, right? It may not be that we are wanting some gross sexual pleasure or something, no. But our mind may be hankering for the puja la pratishtha. This bhaktyutha and these anarthas which come by practice of bhakti. Uh, it's not that bhakti causes some anarthas, but the the practices of bhakti give you a certain situation in which those anarthas can become prominent. Like because of bhakti, we may start getting respected. So then respect is that anartha, desire for respect, that anartha has been caused by bhakti actually. That's why it is called bhaktyutha anartha. Why is that? Because yes, before probably we were not respected so much, but now we are in bhakti, so people are respecting so much, and we want that respect. Or we may hanker some devotees becoming very famous, and we may think like, why am I not becoming famous? I should also be famous. We might become envious towards another devotee who is becoming very famous, very successful in certain things and all. So we have to take inspiration from other devotees that let me also strive with whatever capacity I have, let me also strive to please Krishna. But we don't want to be envious, or we don't want to have necessarily that fame. Uh, Not necessarily. We want to be pleasing to Krishna. We want to. So it's very important that in bhakti, no, we work on our own contribution. Uh, Especially for renounced order of life, they have to be convinced of this aspect that I am here to contribute my whatever my little bit worth of I want to contribute for Krishna's pleasure. We are not here to start a competition of who is more qualified, who is more successful, who is more famous or like that. No. I have given life for Krishna, so I want to contribute. And for that, I will strive very hard. In that, if Krishna gives you fame, fine. If he doesn't give, that's also fine. No problem. We are fine with anything. We just want to utilize our energy in serving Krishna and make sure that Krishna is pleased and Krishna's devotees are pleased with that in this way. So, in that way, we see that this unnecessary competition or insecurity and all such feelings will go away. We can take inspiration from people. We don't have to compare ourselves with other people, but you can certainly derive the inspiration. Somebody is working very hard for Krishna. Well, let me also do. Let me also work hard for Krishna. That's how. Usually, people they start seeing the fruits like fame, facilities. Uh, that's not the right inspiration to take. The right inspiration to take is how much the devotee is working hard for Krishna. So let me also do the same thing in my service so that devotees are pleased, Krishna is pleased in this way. So that way we will never have insecurity. See, it's important that as Brahmanas, as brahmacharis, we do have some sense of self-worth and also some sense of self-inspiration. We see that we have come here voluntarily to contribute, and we you can say relish and celebrate that fortune that we have to voluntarily contribute something for Krishna in our life, give our entire life for Krishna. That's a great privilege actually. How many outside people have that privilege to serve Krishna full time? So we value that privilege and we cherish that privilege very much. So whether that privilege brings us fame, it doesn't matter. The opportunity itself is so glorious that we are able to give Krishna our full time this way. So yeah, that's why I was talking about that aspect of Krishna Priti. That is very, very prominent in our bhakti process. So much so that you can see there is absolutely no desire for anything else except Krishna's pleasure and devotee's pleasure in that particular manner. Finally, words mama paurushani are significant. Devotees are very much attracted to glorifying the activities of the Lord, whereas the Mayavadis cannot even think of these activities. So Prabhupada says that this is a very prominent aspect of bhakti, Shravanam, Kirtanam, whether it is Raganuga bhakti, whether it is uh, Vaidhi sadhan bhakti, we see that Shravanam, Kirtanam, these limbs will be always very, very prominent this way. So people like Mayavadis and all, where they accept Lord only as illusion, what can such people discuss? That's why they don't want to discuss Bhagavatam and all that. Or even if they want to discuss, it is more for getting some money, getting some funds. And that's why Mayavadis do Bhagavat Kathas, because nobody comes to their Upanishad Kathas. If they keep 7 days Katha on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, you see how many people will turn up. Nobody turns up. Hmm. Anyway, because they are most of the times very dry discussions. But you take Bhagavatam, so many people will come. So that's why then they do Bhagavat Katha. Although they should not touch only the scripture. And Prabhupada would say, Prabhupada would say, why these Mayavadis are doing Bhagavat Katha? I will put a case on them. It is not their scripture, Prabhupada would say. So they are taking our scripture. So Bhagavatam, it is clearly in the section of Puranas, and that too certainly scripture which is completely explaining Lord's feature of Saguna, Lord's feature with qualities. But still they want to come here. Why? Because they know it's popular. And then in such kathas, they want to speak impersonalism. Uh, what a bogus idea that is, like that. So that is misleading the innocent public. Pure devotees worship the transcendental activities of the Lord in Vrindavan, Dwaraka, and Mathura as they are narrated in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas. The Mayavadi philosophers completely reject them as stories, but actually they are great and worshipable subject matters. That is the difference between a Mayavadi and a pure devotee. One who accepts Krishna's pastimes as as the highest subject matter, that is a pure devotee. And Mayavadi accepts it as it's as illusion, as some fictional story for some low class people who don't understand the true message of Shastra. That's what they think. Pashyanti te me ruchiranyam basanta prasanna vaktrarunalochanani rupani divyani varapradani sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti. Yes.
Oh, my devotees always see the smiling face of my form, with eyes like the rising morning sun. They like to see my various transcendental forms, which are all benevolent, and they also talk favorably with me.
Ah, so now, very interestingly, you see, that's Prabhupada's genius. When I read these purports first time, and when I studied them from commentaries first time before a few years, so I saw that how Prabhupada writes so nicely. He knows how to make it relevant. See, now this verse no is speaking about Bhava Bhakta. Uh, so they have the Bhava Bhakta or Prema Bhakta. You can say it is Sadhya Bhakti, basically. So actually, this verse is speaking about those devotees actually being able to see the Lord's form, the transcendental form. These verses are not necessarily speaking about deity worship or the deity forms. But the way Prabhupada explains in purport is that he explains this for the deity forms of the Lord. So you see, it is amazing because it is making this bhakti, which is at the level of sadhya bhakti, relevant as something which we also can practice with the deities. Otherwise, it is being talked about actually transcendental forms, which are actually transcendental forms in the sense that these are the transcendental forms of the Lord, which we can see only at the level of prema or bhava. But Prabhupada connects this verse and he says that, so in this way, these devotees see the deity forms of the Lord and speak with the deity forms of the Lord, which is actually possible for even a sadhak bhakta. Then these qualities of these premi bhaktas become relevant for a sadhaka also, because sadhaka can also do this. So it is amazing. I was like amazed by that that application that he brings over here this way. So the verse is actually speaking about the platform where one can perceive the transcendental form of Krishna, because that's what happens at the level of prema, right? One can see the Lord person in person, darshanam or harer madhuryanubhava. Those are the 13th and 14th stages of bhakti. So you can say such devotees have been described over here. Pashyanti te me ruchirani amba santa. Oh, my mother Amba. Those santa, those great devotees, pure devotees, so they see my rupani, they see my beautiful forms, which are what? Which are prasanna vaktra runa lochanani. Lord's beautiful form has a very smiling, pleasing face, right? He's always smiling. And Aruna Lochanani, and then Lord's eyes are so beautiful, especially towards the end. The Lord's eyes have a tinge of a pinkish or a reddish tinge is there, like you have lotus petals, how they are. Similarly, Lord's eyes are like that. So now, these aspects, we see that these can also be applied for the deities, right? Because the deities are also like this. And then we can also meditate in that manner. These are transcendental forms, Divyani, Varapradani, and these bestow great benedictions on those pure devotees. Sakam vacham spruhaniyam vadanti. And with me, with Maya Sakam, Lord says, Kapila is saying here that such devotees, they speak with the Lord spruhaniyam vacham. They speak with the Lord very pleasing words. They speak with the Lord. This is the point that he is saying, and which is a very spruhaniya, which is a very desirable kind of speech this way. So you can see the purpose of this verse is to tell that because I'm taking you to the commentary now, some points from the commentary. Because those devotees don't desire even ekatmata, they don't desire even the oneness, which is the moksha, highest sort of benediction in the world. So when they are that level of devotees where they don't desire even moksha, what is my reciprocation with them? That's the purpose of this verse. Any verse you study, you have to understand the purpose of that verse. And typically it is explained in the first line of the commentary. Dvabhyam. See, the next two verses, what are they speaking is, Mattaha etat prapnuvanti. What do these devotees derive from me? What is my reciprocation with them? Because from their side, they don't have desire even for moksha. So how am I going to reciprocate with them? So Lord is saying, so this is my reciprocation, that I manifest in front of them these beautiful forms of mine. They see these forms, they delight in those forms, and not only that, they speak with these forms. You see? So Krishna is actually, Lord is showing his own reciprocation that he does with these devotees this way. So in this way, these devotees, they not only see the form of the Lord, but they hear the form of the Lord, they smell the form of the Lord, they they get the taste. I mean, whatever Lord has eaten, so he may offer sometimes to a devotee also. This is all there in Madhurya Kadambini. You can hear at the level of bhava and prema how the devotee starts getting experience of Lord's sweetness, Lord's sweetness, his fragrance, his so many beautiful qualities of the Lord. Uh, so this is all happening at that level, at the level of bhava and prema. Uh, so especially varam vrunata ityadi ukti manti. When I see varapradani, that was one word, right? These forms, they offer the benediction. So Lord is saying here that when I offer them the benediction, varam vrunata, please take this benediction. Then they speak back to me. And what do they speak back? Then they quote verses like Na kamayetyam anyam tava pada sevanat akinchana parthatamad vibho. This is Muchukunda. Muchukunda prays that, my Lord, I don't desire any benediction except your service. I don't desire any benediction. So Kapila is saying, Varapradani, when I offer in my those transcendental forms, when I offer them the benediction, then they उल्टा मुझे सुनाते हैं वो. They speak these transcendental words to me saying, oh Lord, you are offering us this benediction. I don't desire any benediction except your service. Na kamaye anyam tava pada sevana. Or all these other beautiful benedictions where devotee says, I don't desire Krishna anything. I just want your service. That's it. Like Prahlad Maharaj is praying, Dhruva is praying, Satya Shisho hi Bhagwan Stabhapada Padma. He says that actually, really, Krishna, I was looking for getting some material desire fulfilled, but actually, what is real benediction? Satya Ashisha. Uh, your lotus feet is only the greatest benediction. Uh, but people, unfortunate people like me, they come to you with this desire for some worldly thing. But you are like that Vashreva Vatsakam Anugraha Katarosman. You are like a cow which gives milk to the calf. Uh, uh, she gives everything, whatever calf needs, she is ready to provide. So similarly, although real benediction is your lotus feet, or Prabhupada quotes this Hari Bhakti Sudodaya also, where also we see that that same emotion is echoed there. Sanatana Goswami quotes Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, and there also Sthana Bhilashi Tapasi Sthitosmi Tvam Praptavan Deva Munindra Guhyam Kacham Vichinvan Apidivya Ratnam Swamin Krithartosmi Varam Na Yache. So this is how they speak the Spruhaniyam Vadanti. काच को ढूंढने वाला मैं, आज मुझे दिव्य रत्न मिल गया भगवान. स्वामिन कृतार्थोस्मि, I am कृतार्थ, my Lord, varam na yache. I don't ask any benediction now, nothing more. See, this is Spruhaniyam Vacham. This is the relishing or desirable words. They touch the heart of the Lord. And there is this spardha, there is this competition. Lord wants to offer something and the devotee doesn't want to take it this way. So it is amazing that Prabhupada connects these emotions in a way that reciprocation with deities can also be done in this manner. It is an extraordinary way of writing purport, actually. Wonderful. So we see that these devotees, they factually access the transcendental form. So for us, we can access transcendental form at least in the form of the deity. That is one form which doesn't need love of Godhead to access. You can also access that this way, right? We can also access, I can also access this way. In fact, Vishwas Chakravarti writes very nice. He says, Varam vrinata ityadi uchate natu anyavara ditsa. He says, even for me, when I say to these devotees, take some benediction, actually, I don't want to give benediction to them. He says, Anyavara ditsa. Anyavara ditsa means the desire to give. Actually, really speaking, I also don't have desire to give them the other benedictions. I am happy to give my own sweetness only to them. It's not that Lord cannot give. He can give also. But the point is, he sees that the greatest delight for the devotee is when he is absorbed in my Nama Rupa Guna Lila Seva. But his heart is so grateful that he also wants to offer some other desires. But if you see, at the deepest core of his heart, he feels that I will offer something else. But my devotee should also know that the greatest delight I can offer is by offering my own Nam, Rup, Guna, Lila, Seva, absorption in that. And that's why I desire that my devotee also does not desire those other benedictions. So I don't want to really give it, but I feel so grateful that I want to give it also, but I expect that my devotee will say no to those benedictions uh, in this way. So this way, this whole Vishwan Chakravarti shows this dynamics of the Lord's and devotees reciprocation. So it is not like Lord doesn't want to give. He can give a devotee any benediction, and he offers also. He's not a stingy Lord, but he also knows that what is the greatest treasure, and he also wants devotee to know what is the greatest treasure, and devotees do know what is the greatest treasure, and that's why even if Lord offers, then they don't take it, they don't want to accept it, and they pray like this with these words, uh, and that vacha becomes sprahaniya. That is a very desirable speech. So you see, for whom it is desirable? It is desirable for the Lord. uh, Lord desires that my devotee should speak like that, uh, although he is offering those benedictions. So it's a beautiful commentary that Vishwanath Chakravarti has written on this verse uh, this way. So when we practice bhakti, in our practice of bhakti, see, Prabhupada connects it to the deities in the temple, uh, Archa, this way. So at the level of Archa Vigraha, uh, we see that this sort of reciprocation, uh, the Archa Vigraha can also do. Uh, but at least from our side, we have that opportunity to offer prayers like that, to see these transcendental forms of Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Shri Gaunita, and then express our heart to them. It is so wonderful, right? I also remember when I was in deity worship, primarily main seva was deity worship. So that time there was such a wonderful opportunity to offer prayers to the Lord. After your service, you can just stay for 5 minutes and then offer these beautiful prayers from Bhagavatam or other places, Padya Panchakam, Vignapti Panchakam. Such beautiful prayers can be offered. So that it will transform our heart and bring it to that sort of consciousness where we are just happy to serve the Lord, and not hankering for worldly fame or some great post position facilities or like that. That very much goes in the background when we offer those prayers to the Lord, seeing these emotions of the great devotees uh, this way. The devotees express their minds, Prabhupada here. The devotees express their minds before the deity. And in many instances, the devotee also gives answers. The deity also gives answers. But one must be a very elevated devotee in order to be able to speak with the Supreme Lord. Sometimes the Lord informs the devotee through dreams also. These exchanges of feelings between the deity and the devotee are not understandable by atheists, but actually the devotee enjoys them. So we see that uh, these verses, they're talking about such Premi Bhakta or Bhava Bhakta, where he's experiencing the Lord's transcendental form directly. But that same opportunity, Prabhupada says that is available through offering the prayers to the deities and in that particular manner. Of course, the reciprocation to a Bhava Bhakta is like, it's a very great reciprocation. We can't expect that from the deity, but Krishna will also reciprocate at our level of devotion. We don't have devotion like Bhava Bhaktas, so how can we expect Krishna to reciprocate like Bhava Bhaktas, isn't it? But the reciprocation of Krishna is there in terms of, especially it is said for sadhakas, Krishna reciprocates through spiritual master and the devotees. For Bhava Bhaktas, he reciprocates himself and directly he reciprocates. He will directly speak to such a devotee. For us, Krishna may not directly speak, but he may speak through spiritual master or through bhajan shiksha guru or like that, we see. So those aspects are there this way. Sometimes the deities also instruct in dreams and all that. For that also one has to be a dedicated servant of the deities, and then we see that sometimes, yes, the deities can reciprocate by speaking directly or by speaking in dreams also and all that. But in either case, such exchanges, especially if they are very significant exchanges about service or like that, we should always confirm with spiritual master, with the senior devotees about such exchanges, right? Like dreams and all, you know that they can become the matter of contention, right? Prabhupada initially, many of the hippies and all were many of them, because they were on sentimental platform. So then they would say to Prabhupada, yesterday Krishna came in my dream and he told me that you don't have to chant 16 rounds. One of the students said to Prabhupada. So what did Prabhupada say? Prabhupada said that no, that was not Krishna, that was a ghost. He said that was a ghost. And then that student is thinking, oh, okay, that was a ghost. Uh, that way. Another time, one lady was saying that, yes, Prabhupada, Krishna came in my dream yesterday and he was saying, he was calling me for inviting me for Ras Leela. So, Prabhupada said, Krishna has all the, transcendental gopis, the best of gopis like Srimati Radharani and all that. So why is he calling you? Uh, why should he call you? You first become a good devotee. Uh, Something like that he spoke. So some sort of ideas like this, right? We see that even if there is dream or something, we don't have to take it very seriously. Another time also, one of the students said to Prabhupada that, Prabhupada, I saw this dream. Prabhupada said it's important not what you see in the dream, but what you do after you wake up from the dream. So this was also very powerful way he answered. What you do when you are awake, that is more important than what you see in the dream. But a sincere devotee can sometimes get some direction, possible, but that should also be at our level, should be confirmed with spiritual master and like that. I know one devotee, he saw a dream where he saw himself in, grahastha robes, and then he decided to change the ashram. Uh, This is a fact, it happened once. So I said, no, see, I mean, he was speaking to me later that I saw such a dream. I said, don't pay any heed to such a dream. It's a bogus dream. Maybe Maya, or maybe you saw somebody and, he was in some nice grahastha robes, and then you saw yourself in the dream, and then you combined. All combinations can be possible. But it stuck to his mind so much that I saw this dream and dream. So then it's like a worm that enters inside, right? This is there, or something like astrology. So on these factors, we don't have to consider astrology and all, whether I can stay a brahmachari. uh, Not at all. Because if that input comes in, no, finished, it will act like a worm then. It will eat you up this way. Because somehow in our system, some people have great faith in astrology and all that. No, Bhaktisiddhanta was the most powerful astrologer. He never encouraged brahmacharis and all to, take astrological accounts into consideration to see whether I should be a brahmachari or not. Uh, Some sampradayas, especially before giving sannyas, they consult some astrology and all. That's okay at level of sannyas, because there is no scope in sannyas turning back, right? Uh, uh, One should never ever come back from sannyas. So there may be some system like that, but especially the way Bhakti Siddhant has spoken and all that. So it's about determination. Are we determined to keep that purity and all that? And if we are losing that determination, no problem. One may go also to Grihastashram and lead a honest life. But point is, taking indicators from dreams and astrology and all, that's a very deadly track actually for ashram people or somebody who is planning to renounce his life for Krishna's pleasure. Uh, Not at all. We have the faith in the bhakti process and the determination on that bhakti process that way. So if you see something favorable in dream, very nice. If you see something unfavorable, better check uh, like that this way. So all right, anyway. Uh, Tayardarshaniyav. See, I will complete till 37 and then we will pause. तैर्दर्शनीयाव यवैरुदार विलासहासे क्षितवाम सुक्तैः ऋतात्मनो ऋतप्राणांश्च भक्तिर् अनिच्छितो मे गतिमन्विं प्रयुक्ते. Yes, Prabhu.
Upon seeing the charming forms of the Lord, smiling and attractive, and hearing his very pleasing words, the pure devotee almost loses all other consciousness. His senses are freed from all other engagements, and he becomes absorbed in devotional service. Thus, in spite of his unwillingness, he attains liberation without separate endeavor.
Yeah, so you can see here Prabhupada is clearly writing it's about pure devotees. The section is clearly talking about pure devotees. Prabhupada here he has written my devotees, but here he writes also pure devotees, the pure devotee. So, Tair Darshaniya. So, what happens is, this verse, the next verse, verse 36, what is it speaking? It is speaking that such a devotee, he actually, the reciprocation of mine in terms of bestowing my Nama Rupa Guna Leela Seva on him. So it is so delightful that such a devotee, Ritatmana, Rita Pranamscha. So such a devotee's heart and his senses, mind, it becomes completely captivated. He becomes, it's like kidnapped by Krishna. Ritatmana literally means his mind is kidnapped by Krishna. Amazing, no? Such a wonderful state if our mind is kidnapped by Krishna. So, Rita Pranams, similarly, the senses, mind, life ebbs, whatever. So, these devotees, pure devotees, Darshaniya Avayava, Krishna's limbs are like so beautiful to look at, and they are so charming. Krishna's beauty is completely pacifies the heart. We see that when we look at the form of the deities, that is also so much pleasing and so much pacifying. What to speak of Krishna's transcendental form which manifests in front of us. So we are not discriminating between deity form and that form, but still the kind of madhurya that Krishna's transcendental form displays, our ability to access it at the level of bhava is much different than the ability to access at the level of sadhan bhakti. So that's why the impact of that form mm, is like amazing. Uh, that's why these devotees in the Shastras, they pray also that when will they be able to see that transcendental form of the Lord. Uh, it's not that they are not getting the opportunity to see the deities, right? But still, the aspiration to see Krishna's transcendental form at the level of prema, that aspiration, that is seen in the devotee's life. We see that. It is seen, even Satyavrat Muni prays like that, right, in his Damodar Ashtakam. Or even at other places, even in Raslila, the gopis pray like that transcendental form of Krishna. Why? Because it is indeed, it is just nectar. It is the ocean of nectar a shower of nectar this way. Now, for such a pure devotee, even the deity form of the Lord will bestow a great ecstasy like that. So this aspect is there, no doubt. But especially, yeah, here the discussion is about Prema Bhakta like that. So when he sees those transcendental limbs of the Lord, Udara Vilasa Hasa Ikshita, when he sees those beautiful glances of the Lord and Krishna's smile, Krishna's sidelong glances, katakshas, uh, and Krishna's Vama Suktai, the words of Krishna, they're extremely pleasing. So they practically captivate and kidnap his heart and his mind and his senses and everything. So in this way, such a devotee, bhaktir anichhato me gatimanvim prayunkto. So such a devotee, because his heart and all is captured by the Lord, he does not desire anything. Anichhato. But still, I offer you, or rather still, bhakti offers him anvigati. Capture this exact essence of the verse. What is it saying? Even for such a devotee who does not desire anything, the bhakti process, she offers him anvi gati. Gati bolte destination. Anvi bolte subtle, subtlest. So what is that subtlest destination? That is actually the spiritual world. Bhakti process, although such a devotee does not desire anything, bhakti anichhato, he does not desire even the residence in spiritual world. But bhakti process offers that that the finest of the destination, she offers it, she secures it for such a devotee. So that's why the last verse and this verse is talking about the reciprocation of the Lord. In this world, Lord is flooding the mind of such a devotee with so much of joy, and then at the end of his life, Lord is also awarding him the Anvi Gati, the spiritual destination. So you can see this way, he is reciprocating with such a devotee. So this aspect is spoken over here by Vishwanath Chakravarti also. Especially, he gives a very nice example. He says that, he says, devotee, he does not desire, right, any of the material enjoyment or spiritual enjoyment or anything, spiritual enjoyment meaning even the mokshas or anything, right? So why is that Bhakti Devi gives these or offers such benedictions to him? So he gives a very nice example. He says that the process of bhakti, it is like chintamani. So chintamani can give you anything, isn't it? Chintamani can offer you whatever you desire. If you desire diamonds, you desire Padmarag, you desire any kinds of diamonds, you desire manis and lapis lazuli and all, whatever sort of, gems, different sort of gems are there in this world. So Chintamani can give you anything that you desire. So sometimes somebody may have a paras money, and though that paras money, if somebody gets, it basically gives you gold, or it can turn anything into gold. So somebody who gets gold, he may think that, oh, my paras money gives actually gold to me. But Chintamani, does it have power to give gold like my paras money? Two comparisons are being done between Chintamani and between Parasamani. So somebody who has Parasmani, so one may think like, my Parasmani gives so much gold, but Chintamani, does it give gold? So Chintamani can give much more than gold. It can give diamonds and platinum and whatever are the valuable dhatus. But the point is, the mandadhi, the less intelligent people, they may think that, I don't know whether this Chintamani can give the Kanaka, can it give the gold? So in order to drive their you can say, confusion or their doubt away, bhakti process, it can offer you anything. The bhakti process, she may offer in a devotee's life great happiness, great material happiness also sometimes. Uh, And then she certainly ends devotee's material existence also. Thereby the moksha or vimoksha is being also offered. So why is Bhakti Devi doing that? Although the devotee is not desiring, in order to quiet, in order to shut the mouth of these people who may think like, अरे पता नहीं ये भक्ति में whether Lord he gives any freedom from misery or money or fame, we don't know. कृष्णा तो परेशान करते रहते हैं सबको. They may say like that. So bhakti can offer also these things. She can offer. It's possible. And she does offer also, right? Sometimes we see that. It's just that Krishna overall, he wants to keep his devotee in a condition which is dependent on him. So he may give a devotee like Ambarish so much of great opulence, or Prahlad, and he may keep another devotee like Kulabecha Sridhar, or like Sudama, or like that. Or he may give Sudama only, then the great opulence also. Uh, so bhakti process, why she gives such benedictions and all, in order to establish in this world that it's not that Krishna is a Lord who cannot give these things. He can give also. Akamah sarva kamo va moksha kamo udharadhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. Because if this feature was not there in bhakti, then you cannot talk about this verse akama sarva kamo va, because Krishna will never give those things. That would be the meaning, right? Krishna will never give material desires fulfillment. Then why do you say sarva kama can approach Krishna? So bhakti process, in order to show to such holders of paras money is being compared to paths like karmakand, or you know, yoga, or like that, such path which can give these benedictions. So Bhakti Devi Mahadevya, it is said. Bhakti is like great queen, and then all these muktis and all that, they follow her like her entourage, and like her maidservants. Hari Bhakti Mahadevya, that popular verse is there. Vishwanath also quotes that verse over here. Uh, this way. So Bhakti, that's why she offers these benedictions. So she may offer some material benedictions in a devotee's life. Hmm. She may offer fame to a devotee, may offer great wealth also. Uh, and then certainly she offers the benediction of Vimukti also. She takes that devotee back home, back to Godhead. So, Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti, moksha, that moksha also is achieved by the devotee. So, the Jnana-kandis also cannot point a finger. Jnana-kandis have the desire for moksha. And the Karma-kandis also cannot point a picture, can point a finger saying that these devotees, you see, they are always poverty-stricken and all. Of course, still we see that yes, those who are worshippers of demigods, they condemn not Hare Krishna, but in general Vaishnava path, saying, Hare Krishna, these are Krishna's followers. Krishna will not keep them happily. And that is Krishna's nature, yeah. Yes, Yaham Anugrahana. But then he also reciprocates in that manner. Uh, but what Gati Bhakti certainly gives is Anvi Gati. Anvi Gati is basically she takes the devotee back home, back to Godhead. This way. So, although the devotee is Anichataha, so you can see Anvi Gati is Durjneya. It is difficult to understand. It is inconceivable destination. What is that? Parshadattva. सीधा पार्षद ही बना देती है भक्ति. भगवान के भक्त को क्या गति दे दी? पार्षद बना दिया सीधा उसको. She makes the devotee associate of the Lord. So what greater benediction than that? This way. So devotee continues praying like this, that yam yam yonim vrajamyaham, whichever yoni I go, my Lord, please give me the blessing of association of your devotees. Punascha bhuyat bhagvatyanante, rati prasangascha, and let me get that. और मम उत्तम श्लोक जनेषु सख्यम, ये सब devotee बोलता रहता है, लेकिन भक्ति, she gives the अन्वी गति. She says, okay, I'm going to make you a parshad of the Lord. Pure devotee, of course, in this way. So that's how Krishna is, and bhakti is the process. The devotee does not want to desire anything, and then Lord also is ready or is very much willing to offer that benediction this way. So this is the nature of this bhakti and reciprocation of Krishna that is spoken over here. Prabhupada says there are three divisions of devotees: first class, second class, and third class. Even the third class devotees are liberated souls. So we have discussed on this liberated, right? So you understand the thrust with which he is speaking. Otherwise, usually uh, in Uttam, Madhyama, and Kanishta, if you study that section of 11th canto carefully, so the the Kanishta Bhakta there, uh, which who has only faith in the deity and he does not respect devotees. Such a devotee has only Laukika Shraddha. Uh, he does not have even Shastriya Shraddha. That's the standard of third class devotee. Uh, so शास्त्रीय श्रद्धा भी नहीं है उसकी, वो तो लौकिक श्रद्धा पे होता है. तो to call that person as liberated soul, you understand why is he saying such a thing? He is saying such a thing because the path that he had chosen, the path of Nirguna Bhakti, is actually a path of liberation. The identity that we give on day one is the identity of actually liberated platform. The person may not be on that identity, but the path is of that identity. That's why even a Kanishta Bhakta is being called as a liberated soul. Otherwise, if you dissect his level of Shraddha, it is not even Shastriya Shraddha. Laukika and Shastriya Shraddha, I'm sure you are aware of these concepts. So it is actually only Laukika Shraddha. Jiva Goswami explains this very clearly. And the Kanishta Adhikari in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu has the Shastriya Shraddha. Kanishta Bhakta and Kanishta or Prakrita Bhakta and Kanishta Adhikari, these two are different concepts. Sometimes we may just consider them as the same concept. No. The Kanishta Adhikari in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, he is a person who is actually at the level of Shastriya Shraddha. But while Kanishta or Prakrita Bhakta is at the level of Laukika Shraddha. If you don't understand this, don't worry, just leave it. But the point is, yes, you understand that aspect of liberation. So, even the third class devotee who is not advanced in knowledge of absolute truth, but simply offers obeisances with great devotion, thinks of the Lord, and he becomes imperceptibly liberated because he starts living the life like that, this way. So, Shraddhayanvita, Bhagavad Gita also says this. So, Prabhupada is connecting the purport to deity worship this way, that we worship the deities with these sort of emotions that we see here. We worship the deities so that they are very attractive, so that seeing them, our heart is pacified and we feel our devotion is aroused in this way. So, Prabhupada is connecting to that. Here the word vilasa is very important. Vilasa, vilasa, hasa. Vilasa refers to the activities or pastimes of the Lord. It is prescribed duty in temple worship that not only one should visit temple to see the deity nicely decorated, but at the same time he should hear the recitation of Bhagavad Gita. This is a very important aspect, Prabhupada says, that we don't just decorate the deities nicely. In South India, so many temples like that, right? I mean, we appreciate their devotion, but you will see that Pujari will not know anything about the Supreme Lord. I mean, I have traveled extensively also, And I would see that except the Sthala Puran, and the person does not know any philosophy. Uh, He's not even aware of Lord's transcendental form and such things and all that. Uh, Not only South, even in Maharashtra, even in North India, we see that they maintain the temple somehow or other, and the guy is not very qualified, one who is worshipping. He's not trained in philosophy. He's not trained in other aspects. He may be trained little bit in those rituals, but we see he is very much ignorant of Shastras. So at least in Prabhupada's temples, we see that the devotees, Prabhupada's books, they train them in a certain manner, so that the devotee, our normal devotee also knows quite good philosophy. They can speak to any guest and all that. So that culture should be maintained. Uh, Temples means not just deities, but there should be proper Bhagavatam going on, Bhagavad Gita going on. Some sort of discussion on Shastra is going on. That's the best way, this way. It is the system in Vrindavan that in every temple there is recitation of Shastras, this way. Yeah, at least in Prabhupada's times it must be like that. Now even that is sometimes missing actually. And they have a great struggle to maintain the temple because they are not at all doing propagation, speaking Krishna Katha, speaking, recite Bhagavatam, explain Bhagavatam. I say, both that is lacking. Otherwise, as soon as you start that, you see people start coming to the temple. They want to hear, then they get inspired this way. Even third class devotees who have no literary knowledge or no time to read Srimad Bhagavatam, they get the opportunity to hear about the pastimes of the Lord. So the Kanishtha, whether Kanishtha Bhakta or Kanishtha Adhikari, may not have great knowledge, but we see that the opportunity to hear is offered, then even they can grow. So विलास, दिस ये रेसिप्रोकेशन तो देखो प्योर डिवोटी के साथ चल रहा है, लेकिन एट आवर लेवल वी कैन डू दिस रेसिप्रोकेशन बाय teaching of shastras, by giving the opportunity to hear about the Lord, and also Prabhupada is giving the relevance of these things at our level and in our life of preaching and all. So this is the final verse now in this series. So let's do this and then pause. अथो विभूतिं मम माया विनस्ताद् ऐश्वर्यष्टाङ्गमनुप्रवृत्तं श्रियं भागवतीं वा स्पृहयन्ति भद्रां परस्य तेष्णुवते तु लोके.
Thus, because he is completely absorbed in thought of me, the devotee does not desire even the highest benediction obtainable in the upper planetary systems, including Satyaloka. He does not desire the eight material perfections obtained from mystic yoga, nor does he desire to be elevated to the kingdom of God. Yet, even without desiring them, the devotee enjoys, even in this life, all the offered benedictions.
Yeah. So that's why we see that Mama Maya Vinaha, Krishna is calling himself as Mayavi. Maya Vinaha means it is in Shashti Vibhakti. So the root word is Mayavi here. तो भगवान ने खुद के लिए वर्ड यूज किया मायावी. So what is that mayavi? The word is means that he's master of maya. He's actually he possesses maya. So he says that the devotee asprhayanti, va asprhayanti, they never ever desire all these material opulences, vibhuti, or they don't even desire this Aishwarya or Siddhis that can come by Ashtanga Yoga and all that. They don't desire any of these things. In fact, they don't desire Shriyam Bhagavatim. They don't even desire the Vaikuntha's opulence. So that words you can see it is rejecting even that aspiration for Sukhaishwaryottara or Prema Sevottara. Bhagavatim Shriyam api na spruhayanti va aspruhayanti. Bhagavati meaning even related to the Lord of the kingdom of the Lord, Vaikuntha. Uh, they don't want that opulence. But the amazing nature of Krishna is parasya mete ashnuvate tu loke. But because he says that these are my devotees, parasya, I am the transcendental Lord. So what do? Those devotees to loke ashnuvate, they attain my spiritual world at the end of their life, and in this life also they are bestowed sometimes these opulences by me, or I certainly bestow on them the spiritual opulences, that is, yeah, Krishna's Nam, Roop, Guna, Lila, and Seva, and all that. Uh, so I offer them all these benedictions. So Krishna is, or rather Kapil Muni is saying over here that the devotee, although without desiring all these things, bhakti itself can actually satisfy them completely this way. So once they become my pure devotees, then you see all the opulence that's there in my spiritual world, it is higher than material opulence. It is higher than somebody achieving the siddhis by yoga. So all that is, it is available for them in the spiritual world this way. So although they don't desire anything, they don't desire Brahmananda, nothing. But because they achieve my Vaikuntha, so anyway they achieve all these opulences. In fact, much more than that, right? They attain higher pleasures than even the material pleasures and all this way. So Vibhuti is referring to some Vibhuti word is there, right? So this Vibhuti refers to some opulences in places like heavenly planets or upper planetary systems and all that in this way. And these other Aishwaryas, the opulences, these are siddhis derived from various yoga processes and all that. And finally, Shriyam Bhagavatim is the opulence of the Vaikuntha in the sense that they don't desire it. uh, But when I give them or offer them, so anyway they end up with that opulence. That's the point. This way. Anyway, Krishna is not keeping them stripped of those opulences and all. He accepts them in the spiritual world this way. Okay. A devotee does not aspire for all these material pleasures, although they are available to him simply by wishing. By the grace of the Lord, a devotee can achieve wonderful success simply by willing, but a real devotee does not like that. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught that one should not desire material opulence or material reputation. No, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. One should simply aspire to be absorbed in devotional service of the Lord, even if one does not get liberation, but has to continue the process of birth and death unlimitedly. So this is such a nice prayer that Lord Chaitanya gives, right? Sometimes we go to some darshan and we may not get much time in front of the deity, like you go to Balaji or like that. So, within 3 seconds, just we may be pushed away. Or even in first few months at least, even in Ayodhya, Sri Ramachandra is there. So you could stand not for much time, a few seconds, uh, especially old temples. We see that there is always very lot of rush. So this is such a nice prayer, right? Even if nothing comes to our mind, at least this much we can say to the Lord. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim kavitam va jagadish kamaye, mama janmani janmanishware bhavatad bhakti rahetu gitve. That's it, done. It's the best prayer Lord Chaitanya himself has given. We don't desire for material opulence. We don't desire for any ujala pratishtha, but we only desire for your bhakti life after life. And it's a perfect prayer, right? uh, in that particular manner. If you remember other prayers in the similar spirit, very nice. Why not? If you have time and if you also have that memory, remembrance of those prayers, then recite them also. But at least this one prayer is there, so beautiful. It can be recited anywhere, and it is offering us the yes, it's the standard of Krishna Priti, and that's all one is desiring, nothing else. Okay, so that's how. So after this, there is Raganuga. Bhakti's description, and then there is 2 verses talking about the Asvabhaviki, and then rest of the chapter is just 10 minutes. So I think I will stop today with this, meaning once this chapter is over, we will stop there. We whatever we have for rest of the section of Kapila Muni, we'll do the planning in next unit. We can do more and little more extensive sessions where we can complete it. But yeah, this chapter I will certainly complete in rest of the time now. So just 10 minutes break we can take, and then we stop. We will restart at 1:15. If there are some questions, I will take that first. See, once the text 40 is over, though, then it's done. Then rest of the verses are just 10 minutes, as I said. So 38, 39, 40, that's all. These are the verses. So please take a break for 10 minutes, and then we will meet. Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay, any question on what we discussed? Any questions on what we discussed?
We were discussing about this means one word I could not understand. Bhajan Kriya Shiksha Guru. Bhajan Shiksha Guru. What exactly Bhajan Shiksha Guru?
Okay. See, Prabhu, that is a term from Bhakti Sandarbha. And of course, you are aware about the concept. I will just tell the exact thing. See, Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he says there are three kinds of gurus. One is Mantra Guru, another is Bhajana Shiksha Guru, and third is Shravana Guru. Okay. So Mantra Guru is initiating spiritual master, one who gives you mantra, one who initiates you and gives you, connects you to the tradition, sambandha. He establishes the sambandha by offering the mantra. Now that mantra typically would mean the Pancharatri ki Diksha. This is Pancharatri ki Gayatris that we receive and all that. That is a mantra guru. If somebody has not received it, so he will receive it. What Prabhupada did is he split the Pancharatri ki Diksha into two Dikshas actually. One is the Harinam Diksha and another is the Brahman Diksha. So together, both the Dikshas complete what is traditionally known as Diksha, where you get those Pancha Samskar, five samskaras, like you get a name, you get mantra, and then you get the process, some process to worship the deities. Like that, Pancha Samskaras are there. Anyway, I won't go into that. It's a different discussion, but initiating spiritual master, you can say. That's Mantra Guru. Bhajan Shiksha Guru is another personality who is a very close guide of you in the Abhidheya process of bhakti. So this personality can be Mantra Guru only, or he can be another person who is very closely guiding you in your Abhidheya. Meaning, how do you perform your bhakti? What seva you should render? What improvement need to be done? You are having a specific anartha. So what should be done for that? What elements of bhakti you should focus on? This is all done by Bhajan Shiksha Guru. So in our system, yeah, if somebody is like that, somebody is doing that close guidance, then that becomes Bhajan Shiksha Guru. So he says that typically this person can be spiritual master only. Mantra Guru only becomes Bhajan Shiksha Guru. But sometimes Mantra Guru may not be available, or he may depart also sometimes. So then after that, then one needs a Bhajan Shiksha Guru, one who is taking close guidance of such a person. So some aspects of this may be done by our counselor. But yeah, this post is like this position is much more than that. It's quite a responsible position where practically entire focus of our devotional service and all that is being handled by this person. So he is also very exalted. He is a very advanced devotee, Bhajan Shiksha Guru, as per Jiva Goswami. Uh, and then third one is Shravana Guru, where one hears the Shastra, learns Shastra from this person, learns the Shastras. So such a person is called Shravan Guru. So he says that this Shravan Guru is a person, it can be many, many Shravan Gurus in our life, from whom we learned the Shastras properly, systematically, that person is also treated as Shravana Guru. So he says these two people especially become very, very important as far as the execution of bhakti is concerned. Shravan Guru may be somebody who is giving knowledge primarily and teaching Shastras deeply, properly. So there is some standard of Shravan Guru also. It's not like we can just learn something from YouTube and all. No, this person also has to be devoted to process of bhakti, and this person also has to be initiated in proper sampradaya. He should be anagha, a person who is not leading a sinful life and all that. Mm. But these two people are very, very important in the sense of that they actually are very much monitoring the process of uh, advancement in a disciple's life. Uh, Jiva Goswami says Mantra Guru can also act as Shravana Guru. So this one person can be actually everything also. It's possible. He is only Bhajan Shiksha Guru, he is only Shravan Guru. So somebody is very fortunate then if that kind of thing is there. One is because one has great faith in Mantra Guru and he is also teaching Shastras properly. He is also teaching Bhajan Shiksha. Bhajan ki Shiksha. Bhajan means execution of process of bhakti. This way. But even if it is not like that, at least Bhajan Shiksha Guru is another advanced devotee who is helping us with the very close monitoring of our bhakti process in that manner. And Shravan Gurus are the bona fide teachers of Shastra. So these are the three things he speaks. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. What is, I think somebody had raised hand. What's Parjanya Priya Prabhu? Yeah.
Hi Krishna Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, other day we were discussing that even yogis can go to Vaikuntha, and today we were discussing Prema Uttara and Seva Uttara. They are also getting this four kind of mokshas. And then we have one more category called as Parshad. Gaudiya Vaishnava is like Krishna Prem, that's another different category. Like they can become Parshad of the Lord rather than more, this is a more higher, but I have heard, than getting these four mokshas. So almost these bhakti yogis of different sampradayas and these yogis almost same seems on the same platforms. So could you please shed some light upon this? And what is this concept of Parshad? I guess Parshad becomes you become relative direct servant of the Lord, and in this four mokshas you are there. What I have understood, you have your own family, own life, but Lord is also there. He is a center, but still you have your own center also, your family, something like that. But when you become Parshad, you're totally with the Lord, something like that.
Okay. See, about the four muktis and then Parshadatva that is attained by Kevala Bhakti, especially the way Raganuga Bhakti speaks about in that manner. What is the difference between these? So, there is not much elaborate discussion on this, usually speaking, in Shastras also. But certain differences are spoken by Sanatana Goswami. He speaks. And also Jiva Goswami speaks in Priti Sandarbha. So, like, if you talk about those four kind of mokshas, no? Uh, so we see that those four kind of mokshas, if somebody is aspiring in Sukhaishwaryottara or Prema Sevottara, so they are also residents of Vaikuntha only, no doubt. And they also are said to have love of Godhead only. Yes, that is fine. But we see that depending on there also, depending on those particular muktis, there may be some distant relationship of the Lord there. Like as you also rightly said, sometimes one may live with the Lord uh, on the same planet. So anybody practically who goes to Vaikuntha, he gets that Salokya moksha. Uh, it is a common moksha. He says, our Sanatana Goswami, he speaks in commentary to Brihad Bhagavatam, it's one of the sections. He says that anybody goes to Vaikuntha, two mokshas are common. One is Sarupya, another is Salokya. It is done. It is there only. It is by default there. But point is, some of them, they aspire for this moksha and some of them don't aspire for this moksha. Their desires are like completely pure. They are just not thinking about this moksha in this way. So we see that in such cases, anyhow they get salokya and sarupya. Now samipya is little bit close now, because samipya makes you constantly in the entourage of the Lord. Wherever he goes, you become the part of his entourage. That is called as samipya. आप constantly भगवान के समीपता में हो. Salokya may not be like that. You may be situated somewhere along with, of course, all the devotees, and one may be singing the glories of the Lord. So that way, he is also resident of spiritual world, but Samipya is even more intimate because it is a constant association of the Lord. And similarly, Sarshti is also getting some opulences or some sort of within spiritual world also. You become like a controller. You have certain aspects, certain great opulences which are practically like Lord. So so these opulences come for somebody who is Sarshti this way. So when the devotees attain these sort of opulences and all, they are there in spiritual world. So naturally they are going to do these glorifications of the Lord, or they may be serving the Lord in that manner. So that aspect remains common only. Only something like Samipya and all. So it is being offered, it is offered to actually a devotee who is aspiring like that. One who wants to very intimately serve the Lord in that particular manner, then we see that those devotees get those benedictions. Uh, Now, when you come to Golok Vrindavan in spiritual world, so we see that the Salokya aspect is there in a sense of residence in the spiritual world, but Sarupya is not there. It's not that anybody who goes to Goloka gets the same form as Krishna. No, that aspect is not there. This way. Uh, the terms are not applied in Shastra for Goloka. Like when we talk about Goloka, then we don't use those terms like Salokya, Sarupya, Samipya. Although these, in essence, those benedictions are there in Goloka also. But they are not used. They're always used for Vaikuntha and that kind of benediction this way. So, because Shastra speaks also more from Vaikuntha's perspective, right? Uh, so in that particular manner. So what we understand is uh, there can be devotees who have those aspects where they're desiring for a certain moksha, and then that's how they receive the spiritual world. And some devotees who don't desire that kind of moksha that way. So in cases like Samipya, we can understand that there is some difference, intimacy is there in Lord's giving that benediction. But otherwise, somebody going to, especially Vaikuntha, we don't see so much of discrimination on that part. It's just the matter of somebody is aspiring for that kind of benediction, and it is still within the process of pure devotional service only, like Sukha Ishwaryottara or like that. So that distinction is made more with Goloka, uh, not so much with within Vaikuntha only. Okay, what about those who are not desiring any muktis, and what about those who are desiring any muktis? Especially Vaikuntha means that those devotees, they all of them get that benediction. If somebody is especially looking for Sashti, then he gets Sashti. Otherwise, it is not by default. By default is Sarupya and Salokya in that particular way. Similarly, Samipya also is not by default. It is aspired for, and then one receives that kind of benediction. So I would say, Prabhu, for as far as Vaikuntha is concerned, we don't hear such expansions of like some sort of discrimination between these people. Like Karma Mishra Bhakti gives you Salokyadi Moksha. Vishwanath Chakravarti explains. So Karma Mishra means what? Typically those devotees, they also desire material facilities along with bhakti process. So it is something like Sukheshwaryottara. Uh, but yes, that is within still framework of devotional service. Possible. Because it is connected to the Lord. And they want those benedictions only in connection with the Lord. If they were offered without any connection, then they won't take it. Vinamat sevanam jana, diyamanam na grihnanti. Yeah, but with connection of the Lord, they hear about those benedictions and then they develop desire to aspire for those benedictions, and Lord accepts also them that way. So if somebody is aspiring for Sarshti or Samipya like that, then Krishna or Vaikuntha Narayana he does give those sort of benedictions. Now, especially in Golok Vrindavan, we see that, yeah, one thing is our acharyas advise that we don't aspire for any such benedictions. But then the kind of bhakti that we render Raganuga, in which Kamanuga or Sambandhanuga one is desiring. So it's actually a benediction in which we are desiring quite an intimate relationship with the Lord, isn't it? Sometimes it may not be Samipya also, but it is extremely intimate relationship with the Lord. So that's how we understand that here the intimacy that is aspired for is very, very high, but there is no conscious cultivation of that kind of desire, that let me desire these four mokshas or in that particular manner. So I see that this benediction is this description is there in in Priti Sandarbh, and Sanatana Goswami he speaks in Brihad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, I have not seen acharyas themselves doing a lot of analysis of this factor, except these few places. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Dandavat pranam. Prabhuji, कनिष्ठ अधिकारी, the bhakta. Sometimes we hear that we do the same, he is Madhyam Adhikari, he is Kanishta Adhikari. So I want a little clarity on this. I want to understand. Means Kanishta Adhikari is Madhyam Adhikari is Prema Maitri Rupa Upeksha. Sometimes new.
It's breaking. Your voice is breaking, bro. Can't hear.
Am I audible, Prabhuji?
It is breaking. Your voice is breaking very much.
वीडियो ऑफ करो, वीडियो ऑफ
Okay,
करो,
Prabhuji, then okay.
वीडियो ऑफ करो तो सिग्नल.
Hare Krishna. Now I'm audible.
Huh? Yes, go ahead. Yes, yes, go ahead, Prabhu.
I am Kanishta Adhikari, Kanishta Bhakta, Madhyam Adhikari. And so sometimes Madhyam Adhikari symptom is given that Vema Maitri Krupa Upeksha. So that is
No, take care. Leave it. It's not possible to understand. Prabhu, you can send me the question later. I will try to answer. Okay. It's breaking. Your voice is just I mean, it's just intermittent, so difficult to understand. Okay. All right, then we go ahead. We finish this chapter now.
The small thing, Guruji, in that this Prem Se Uttara and Sukha Aishwarya Uttara. When I read Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, I didn't understood it in that way. Maybe because of improper reading that I thought Sukha Aishwarya means that he has some inclination for Sukh. Sukh means happiness in that way, personal desire for happiness or some kind of Aishwarya also. May not be materially, but in connection with Lord, but that kind of is there prominent. And in Prem Seva also it is there, but lesser. Prema is more.
No. That is not right understanding. You can read this with in connection to Bhagavatam commentaries, then you will get the right understanding. So there are sections in which the description of Vaikuntha aspirants is being done in Bhagavatam and all. And there Vishwanath Chakravarti uses these terms Sukha Ishwaryottara and Prema Sevottara. So there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu itself also there are other commentators also. There is one more commentator apart from Vishwanath Chakravarti and Jiva Goswami, But this term of Sukheshwaryottara and Prema Sevottara, it comes in the commentaries also. And I'll give you those sections also specific if you want. And the description is being spoken about actually there, the pure devotees or those who are aspiring for Vaikuntha, those people. So it is not so much about one's own enjoyment. Then it will not be Kevala Bhakti, na Prabhu. Then it will become.
That's why I was
Ah.
till now I was very confused in that regard. Now
Yeah.
it made very clear things.
Yeah, no. This is Sukha and Aishwarya completely pertaining to Lord's connection with the Lord. That way. So Sukha and Aishwarya connected to Lord's service and connected to Lord's association. So otherwise, yes, it would become a blemish and person will not be considered follower of Uttama Bhakti that way. So once again, I can see the section of, I think one of the commentators there is also giving this clarity there. But if not, anyway, Bhagavatam commentaries, multiple places, Sukhaishwaryottara and Prem Sevottara has come. So there you can see clearly that what exactly is the meaning. Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
Prabhu. And
I'll
even
share.
if yes, Prabhu. And sometimes like Vishwanath only says that in that song that Mama Meva Vrindavaneva Vasam, that he's aspiring for staying in Vrindavan like that. I just wanted to ask, like devotees also aspiring to go to Goloka or whatever, Bhauma Vrindavan, whatever. That aspiration is also there. So means how we can bring it out in another platform because it is na dhanam na janam.
True. Now, see, this is the, see, here the aspiration, like the devotee just wants to stay in Vrindavan and the devotee is aspiring even for other aspects, like he wants to get association of particular kind of sajatiya bhaktas and all that. So these desires, Prabhu, they are so much integrated with the desire for Krishna Priti, especially when the acharyas are speaking. So that they are actually Krishna Priti desires only. Uh, we will not see so much the desire prayers like where the devotee is asking that, okay, I want to come to Golok Vrindavan. One may pray like this that I want to stay in Vraja, I never want to leave Vraja. So that is for this aspect that Krishna, I want to constantly remember you. I want to be with your devotees and in this land which is most sublime with your remembrance everywhere. So in from that kind of angle, this aspiration is there. The aspiration is there never in terms of that even this sort of prayers are very rare, that please take me to Goloka or like that. You don't find them very often. But yes, in this land where Krishna's at every step, there is so much of remembrance, Krishna. It is flooding the heart with Krishna's remembrance. So devotee wants to stay in such a place so that he can remember, he can please, he can serve Krishna constantly. So that kind of aspiration is there even in Vrindavan Mahimamrit and all these books also. The acharyas pray like that. Yes, Prabhu. So that desire is certainly different from Sukhaishwaryottara or Prema Sevottara, where the desire, certainly in connection with the Lord, but the desire is to also live in that opulent place and also have that opulence like in service of the Lord. So they have some attraction for those aspects of great opulence and great this thing. Now for a devotee, he may want to stay in Vrindavan, no doubt, but still this whole desire of Krishna, please take me out of this miserable place, Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti, which is the characteristic of moksha. In moksha, that desire is very prominent, that let me get rid of this miserable place, Atyantika Dukkha Nivrutti. That is just not there only. He may desire to stay in Vrindavan and then accept the accept the harsh weather of Vrindavan as benediction, accept the thorns and pebbles of Vrindavan to be higher than Brahmananda and all that. So it's intertwined and integrated with that prominent, not prominent, rather only desire of Krishna Priti. It is unlike Prem Sevottara or Sukha Ishwaryottara aspects where there is that hearing of opulence of the Lord and powers of the Lord, and then, okay, let me have also that power for serving Krishna, something like that. So that desire is being discouraged that way. So here it is more straightforward. It's for pleasure of Krishna. So for that, naturally, you have to stay in a place where there is most prominent remembrance of Krishna, right? Of course, if Krishna wants to send a devotee outside of Vraja and all, he will be very happy. If Krishna only wants to give separation, then we see that the gopis also, they accepted that separation. But it's not that the devotee forcibly wants separation. This idea is not right. That devotee wants to stay in viraha from the Lord. He does not. He wants to certainly have that association of Krishna and all that way. But still, if Krishna wants to send one away from that association, then the devotee, we see that devotee accepts that also. So that this whole Vipralambha concept is probably sometimes we can discuss. It may be misunderstood sometimes as if, don't try to see Krishna. Serve him in such a way that Krishna wants to see you. This is Bhaktisiddhanta's statement, so it is perfect. But what does that mean? Don't try to see Krishna. Well, that means don't try to see Krishna artificially. Don't try to see Krishna without qualification, without working hard to purify the heart. But if you are working hard to purify the heart, if you are understanding bhakti process, the aspiration to be able to see and witness that beauty of Krishna, transcendental form of Krishna, it is most desirable. These acharyas are praying for that. So the spirit has to be understood very properly. Otherwise, if we are not going to desire Krishna's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, Seva, what are we going to desire for then? So, do we only desire Seva? So, as if darshan of Krishna is not Seva or what? When a devotee is desiring the darshan of transcendental form, is it Seva or is it not Seva? So, why to make that distinction between Seva as Seva and darshan as not Seva? So, the idea has to be very clear, especially in terms of this aspect. There is a great desire, like if you read Raslila and all these prayers, the gopis are desiring so much hankering for association of Krishna. So that's there in Raganuga also, bhakti, very much there. It's just that there's this particular aspect of separation where the glory of bhakti also comes out if Krishna desires it. So you have to see that who desires separation. If the gopis desire separation from Krishna, that would be inappropriate, like that. But if Krishna desires separation, and that time still gopis' intensity of the love becomes manifold, that glorious aspect is being brought out by the process of Vipralambha, by the process of separation in that particular manner. So the aspiration is there, but what is the beloved's aspiration also, that matters this way. Anyway, it's a big topic. Sometime inappropriate topic, we can see that. Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Text 38.
Thank you, Prabhu.
न करहि चिन्मत् परा शांत रूपे न क्षन्ति नो मे निमिषो लेढिहेति एषामहं प्रियात्मा सुतश्च सखा गुरु सूरधो दैवमिष्टम्. Yes, please read.
The Lord continued, My dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft of them. neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences, because the devotees accept me as their friend, their relative, their son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity. They cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time.
All right. So you can see now this verse is being explained. So just a minute. Yeah. So we talked about getting this opulence, that Lord anyway bestows this opulence on such devotees. So such opulence, is it transient or temporary like material opulence, or is it permanent? If that question were to ask, so Kapila is answering that by saying, no, this opulence which is there in the spiritual world, this will never ever be taken away. Na karhichit matpara shanta rupe nakshanti. So, matpara, those who are my devotees, so they never ever lose this opulence in the spiritual world, which is said to be Shanta Rupa. See, Shanta Rupa can be one addressed to his mother. His mother is, oh mother, Shanta Rupa. She has a very peaceful demeanor and disposition. So that's why it can refer to Shanta Rupa as mother, or it can also refer to spiritual world, Shanta Rupa, because spiritual world does not undergo any Vikruti, it does not undergo uh, any transformation, any ill effects of time. So that's why this aspect of Shanta Rupa is being spoken to spiritual world also. Vishwanath Chakravarti, he says that, see, Shantam avikritam rupam yasya tasmin malloke. So the spiritual world is being said to be Shanta Rupa because Lord who does not undergo any transformation, he resides there. Krishna's form does not undergo the vikaras like in the material world, right? In material world, there are 6 vikaras, but Lord's form does not undergo. Similarly, the spiritual world also does not undergo any vikaras. So that's why this Shanta Rupe refers to the spiritual world also. So that's why na nakshanti, meaning they never ever lose. My devotees never lose these opulences. These are actually transcendental opulences that stay for eternity. That way. No me nimesho ledhi heti. And animesha, animesha is Lord's form as time, which never blinks. So this lady means chakra, the wheel. So the wheel of time also never ever destroys my devotees, such devotees who have joined in the spiritual world. Such devotees who have come to me in the spiritual world, the wheel of time does not heti does not influence or does not destroy them in any way. Oh, sorry. Heti means actually the chakra, the wheel, and ledhi means it does not destroy. That's how it is. Yeah. Yes. So that's how that's how it is. So anyway, the point over here is that Kala Chakra, जो Kala Chakra hai, no ledhi tan na grasate, meaning those devotees, they are not devoured by the Kala Chakra at all. And this is spoken in the spiritual, so many scriptures, right? Nasa punaravartata, a devotee, once he achieves the spiritual world, he never ever comes down. Abrahma bhonaloka punaravartino arjuna mamupaityatu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate. Punarjanma na vidyate. Tatoho askhalanam. From there is no fall once somebody goes to spiritual world. Anavrittihi shabdat, anavrittihi shabdat. So from the spiritual world, there's no anavritti, no coming back over here. So basically, there is no influence of time over there. So all these opulences that are there, they remain continuously for those devotees. So who are those devotees for whom this is being spoken? So Esham aham priya atma sutascha sakha guru saurudho daivamishtam. So for whom I am their beloved priya, for whom I am their very, very dear self, Atma, for whom I am their Suta, I am their son, Sakha, friend, Guru, spiritual master, Surid, friend, Daivam, worshipable Lord, Ishtam Daivam, the most worshipable, chosen Lord. So you see, this line is speaking about the Raganuga kind of bhakti, because these sort of reciprocations or this sort of ideas in worshipping the Lord, they are only there in Raganuga Bhakti. Priya, where Lord becomes your beloved. So, that in the Vaikuntha, there is no this rasa where one accepts Lord as the beloved. There is dasya ras or there is sakhya ras. But accepting as beloved, this aspect is not so much spoken in Aishwarya Bhakti. Atma, some very, very dear personality. So this is actually, Vishwan Chakravarti says that this refers to Dasya Ras, where one accepts one as dear master. Suta is Vatsalya Ras. Sakha is Sakhya Ras. Guru, this Guru word also refers actually for Dasya, Vishesh. Within Dasya, this sense is there that one accepts one as one's master also, master and spiritual master kind of, instructor kind of thing. Suridha is again like Sakha only. Sakhya is there, so Suridha is specific type of Sakhya. Priti Sandarbha explains all these different kinds of Sakhya are there. So Suridha is one kind of Sakhya. Yudhishthir has that kind of Sakhya with the Lord. So Pandavas, they have Sakhya with the Lord, but it differs. These Sakhyas differ in slight ways. Sometimes we see Pandavas like Bhima and Yudhishthir, they have Sakhya with Krishna, but they also have it slightly imbued with Vatsalya. It is slightly imbued with Vatsalya. They see Krishna as someone who is their friend, but who needs to be taken care, who needs protection. So that kind of feeling is there in them. While Nakul and Sahadev, they don't have that kind of feeling, where they have this some sort of Vatsalya towards Krishna. No. Then Arjuna has a Sakhya, which is like little Vishrambha Sakhya. Certainly, he is friend of Krishna, but then he also has that remembrance of Krishna behind his mind that he is Supreme Lord. That's there even in Yudhishthira and Bhima also. So this feeling of Sakhya, Gaurav, this aspect of Lord being the Supreme Lord, that stays in their mind actually. And sometimes it switches off and sometimes it's there. So Dwarka is like that. There is switching on and off of that Gaurav aspect. In Vaikuntha, it never switches off the Gaurav, meaning that Aishwarya knowledge. It never switches off. In Dwaraka, it switches on and off. And in Goloka, it is permanently switched off. Like that. So like that, Vishwanath Chakravarti explains, Jiva Goswami also, that in Dwaraka, you will find this idea that they sometimes treat Krishna as their own child or as their own somebody needs to be taken care of. But then they also remember under pretext of a certain Leela. But in Vrindavan, they never remember only. It just never comes to their heart. that this is the Supreme Lord. Very rarely in Bhaum Vrindavan, in some pastime, Lord may show that. Like Mother Yashoda saw the dirt in the mouth of Krishna. I mean, when she asked to open the mouth, then she saw, oh, and then she remembered. So see, this has happened like one particular Leela in this world, but it doesn't happen in spiritual world like that. She never ever remembers this, that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, Krishna, in order to drive home certain Leelas, he does that. He wanted to show this aspect of how that love with Aishwarya becomes sankuchit, becomes restricted. Actually, fantastic commentary is there on this section, if you can read in 10th canto. Vishwanath Chakravarti, Jiva Goswami, Madhvakshan, they are explaining like anything. So in order to show the restriction of love caused by the knowledge of opulence, Aishwarya, Krishna arranged this pastime. And then he immediately covered the vision of Yashoda so that, because he does not like those emotions in Vrindavan. So he showed that, oh, I don't desire this. And how Aishwarya Jnana actually causes the restriction on that aspect of love. Because Mother Yashoda started thinking, oh, he's not my child, I am his child. So imagine, does Lord accept this? I mean, will he like this sort of emotions from Yashoda? So in Bhaum Vrindavan, he may do certain pastimes to keep a certain a perspective or to give some sort of indication on that this way. But otherwise, yes, the Aishwarya Gyan never ever comes. Even if Krishna reminds, it does not come in their heart. Sometimes Krishna may say on his own that, see, why you are like that? Why you are making fun of me? I am Supreme Lord. So then they make further fun then. If he says that I am Supreme Lord, then they start further laughing. So this way. So that's how it is. Sakha, Guru. So Guru comes under again in Dasya. Atma and Guru will go under Dasya. Priya is Madhurya. Suta is Vatsalya. Sakha is Sakhya. And Daivam Ishtam, this is also, this idea is also again in Dasya. That Lord is the worshipable master or worshipable Lord. So you can see. Vishwanath Chakravarti has put this in properly in under this one. Priya iti prayasi bhava. Priya is beloved. Then Atma iti Shanta Bhaktas, he says, Shanta Bhaktas, they think like Atma. So now, Shanta in the Golok Vrindavan, it is a misnomer. Shanta goes under Dasya only in spiritual world. Especially in Golok Vrindavan, Bhaktivinoda says that there's nothing called as Shantaras, as we understand it from Vaikuntha, where there is no active service for a Shantaras Bhakta. It's a passive meditation on Lord's glory in Shantarasa. So that sort of aspect is there. But we see that, especially in Golok Vrindavan, that Shantaras, that kind of aspect is just not there. Even those which are trees and deers and all, do they not render service to the Lord? In one way, even passive meditation on Lord is, how can it be not considered a service? It is a service, right? But then point is, yes, we are also defining service in terms of sarvendriya vritti. All through all the senses, one is engaging the Lord. So that's why, yes, Atma, somebody being very, very dear, it's called Shantaras, but still it can be put under Dasya only. Suta iti Vatsalya, son is certainly Vatsalya. Sakha is iti Sakhyavatam. Sakha is certainly for Sakhyaras. Guru iti Dasya Visheshvatam. So that aspect of Guru comes under Dasyaras. Surid comes under Sakhya Bhedavatam. It's one of the specific kind of Sakhya. Daivam iti Dasya Bhavavatam. And Daivam, we can see again, it is being put under Dasya Bhava. So this way. So this sort of approach towards the Lord, it is possible in Raganugiya Bhakti, right? uh, Kamanuga or Sambandhanuga. So that's how this verse is speaking about Raganuga Bhakti as per Jiva Goswami and also Vishwanath Chakravarti. Raganugayaha Svabhavikya Bhaktehe Udharanam Jneyam. So we see that this particular verse is speaking about Raganuga Svabhaviki Bhakti. Like that. So yeah, Raganuga Svabhavika Bhakti. Because yes, this verse is talking about those who are in the spiritual world. So naturally it is Swabhaviki Bhakti. I think when I was explaining initially, I just said Raganuga Bhakti probably. It is Raganuga Swabhaviki because it is speaking about the devotees who will not be influenced by the wheel of time. So naturally it is talking about spiritual world's residents, those who have achieved that Raganugiya Bhakti, Bhav Bhakti by practice of Raganuga. And these are now the residents who are there in the spiritual world. So that's why, yes, this is referring to Raganugiya Bhav Bhakti. And the
It is
prior.
Ragatmika, and it is not Raganuga. If it is spiritual.
No, why should it be Ragatmika, Prabhu? Once somebody achieves Raganuga, by Raganuga, when you achieve spiritual world, do you say that that devotee has become Ragatmika Bhakta? Is this what you are saying?
Because means generally one who follows in the footsteps of Ragatmika is called Raganuga. But here they have already achieved that platform. They are in spiritual world, you were saying. So that's why I say they are already Ragatmika Bhakti.
No, not like that. No. They're called Raganugiya Bhav Bhaktas. They're not called Ragatmika. Otherwise, then they become the role model for next generation.
Okay, so they are here and they are following.
No,
Okay.
let me complete.
Okay.
See, what is Raganuga Bhakta? One who follows here. Now, once by following here, you attain the spiritual world. You are there in Golok Vrindavana. Then what should be the term used for you? Ragatmika? No, it is not Ragatmika. It is Siddha by the process of Raganuga. He is a Raganugiya Bhav or Prema Bhakta. Ragatmika Bhakti is for the Lord's Parshadas who are Nitya Siddhas. Only they are called Ragatmikas, not the ones who go from here. Then how will they be distinguished as Sadhan Siddhas also, right? Then they cannot be called Sadhan Siddha also. But no, the distinction in spiritual world in terms of somebody is a Nitya Siddha and somebody is a Sadhan Siddha, that remains. Although it's not like there, somebody will say, "Arey, ye kaun si category hai? Sadhan Siddha category hai." Not in that way. But for the conceptual understanding, it is very clear that it's not that Raganuga Bhakta, when he achieves spiritual world, he becomes Ragatmika. No, that's not right understanding. He is Raganugiya Bhava Bhakta only. It's just that now such a person has achieved spiritual world that way. So Ragatmika is specific Nitya Siddha associates of the Lord. I mean, all the Nitya Siddha associates, you can say, especially, they have Ragatmika Bhakti, but some of them become the role models for Raganuga Bhaktas. So then we see that Ragatmika, those Ragatmika Bhaktas are talked about by the Acharyas or by Shastras this way. But Ragatmika means the person has to be Nitya Siddha. If he is not a Nitya Siddha, you cannot use that term. Even if he becomes Sadhan Siddha, we don't say that the person has become now Nitya Siddha. No, he remains the Sadhan Siddha only. Although Siddhi has been achieved, so everybody is a resident of spiritual world. But Nitya Siddhas are Nitya Siddha category and Sadhan Siddhas remain the Sadhan Siddha category. But Krishna does not discriminate now because one has achieved perfection. All right, bro?
Perfect.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, my net is working now.
Let me complete now, but let me complete now this section, then only we'll speak. Okay. So even though one, Prabhupada now, take Prabhupada's purport. Even though one is promoted to the higher planetary system for enjoyment and a long duration of life, Still, that is not a permanent settlement. But as far as the devotees are concerned, their assets, the achievement of devotional service and the consequent opulence of Vaikuntha, even on this planet, are never destroyed. So the point is, although the verse is speaking about these assets in the spiritual world, because we talked about Shanta Rupe, Vishwanath Chakravarti says is being talked about especially for spiritual world and the opulence over here. But the aspects like achievement of devotional service or all these things, they are never destroyed, right? If one has achieved prema, then can that prema be ever destroyed? No. The material body that one may have within this world, it is destroyed because it is constitutionally material, upadan. But the assets like achievement of devotional service or prema bhakti, that will never be destroyed. And once one goes to Vaikuntha, then those opulences are obviously never ever destroyed this way. For the devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time. In the material world, the influence of time destroys everything. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time. So, see, Prabhupada's thrust of speaking has to be understood. Prabhupada, he usually speaks in a way that he does not distinguish between the material world and spiritual world, provided everybody is Krishna conscious. So that spirit has to be understood very nicely. That's the mode of Acharya. Very properly, it has to be understood. But still, when you talk philosophically, there are other aspects like in Krishna consciousness, there is no influence of time when we say this. So we do understand that what does that mean? Krishna consciousness, the time, the passage of time destroys everything. But the Krishna consciousness that one has achieved, that cannot be destroyed by the passage of time. In fact, it will go on increasing, isn't it? So in that sense, there is no influence of time. But as we go ahead and practice bhakti also, does our body not dwindle? Do our senses not become old? Do devotees not die? So there is a sense in which things are spoken by Prabhupada. And the sense in which he speaks is the spiritual assets are never destroyed. They will remain. The bhakti that one has done, neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate, that will never be destroyed. At best, it may be sometimes covered if some devotee, falls into sense gratification or does some offense, then that access to that bhakti is lost. But it is never destroyed this way. And what to speak of somebody becomes a premi bhakta? Then nothing is destroyed now. Time just cannot influence him in any way that way. So, in the Vaikuntha, there is no influence of time, that is sure. In the material world, there is influence of time. But in the material world, there is no influence of time on the attained Krishna consciousness. Whatever we have attained, time cannot do anything with that. It can at best, Maya can at best cover it, but can it destroy the Krishna consciousness? No, it can never destroy the Krishna consciousness. Whatever advancement one has done on the path of bhakti, it stays with the person. And as soon as this Krishna consciousness is revived, we see that the person immediately is able to access that advancement. It's like a permanent, Prabhupada would give that permanent bank account example. You have the wealth, but you lost the access because of some, whatever, fall down or because of some aparadh. But as soon as you are able to access it, then immediately this whole amount is yours. So that is the Krishna consciousness. Time is conspicuous by its absence, Prabhupada said in the spiritual world. Meaning time is there, but it does not have the destructive effect. That is for the spiritual world especially. In the material world, the permanent asset of Krishna consciousness cannot be destroyed. But body will be destroyed, right, by the mind. The subtle body will be destroyed. The gross body will be destroyed. It will be. The reason for freedom of destruction is also described, because the devotees accept the Supreme Lord as most dear personality and reciprocate in all these different ways that it is spoken about. This way. So Prabhupada connects it to our loving propensity, and yeah, in that way. Krishna, of course, means Krishna and his confidential devotees. Krishna is not alone. So all these reciprocations that we talk about, they prove that Krishna is never alone. Prabhupada would not like the picture of Krishna if it was painted alone. No. Krishna is always with his devotees. At least cow is there, calf is there, Gopa is there, Gopi is there. Somebody is there with him always. So that's why there is this reciprocation in various rasas. Krishna is never alone, for the devotees of Krishna are not impersonalists. Just like king. King means his entourage will be there, right? The entourage would escort him everywhere. So similarly, Krishna also. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, should be accepted as one's best friend. He will never cheat. Krishna will never cheat us. He will always give his friendly advice and friendly protection. If Krishna is accepted as a son, he will never die. In this material world, somebody may have a son, but if because of unfortunate circumstance, somebody may lose the son or daughter or like that. But if one is having Krishna as his son, aspiring for that, then Prabhupada is saying that this relationship will never be broken. Same way with other aspects like friendship and all that. So the eternality of this relationship, Prabhupada is speaking. So this sort of relationship is especially there in the Raganuga Bhakti. And that Raganugiya Swabhaviki Bhakti has been spoken over here. As you can clearly see, Vishwanath Chakravarti says that. This is Raganugayaha Swabhavikya Bhaktehe Udharanam. ये रागानुगा की स्वाभाविकी भक्ति जो है उसका उदाहरण है in this way. So Raganuga, anyway, at the level of sadhana bhakti is still at the level of sadhana bhakti. Also, Raganuga is considered swabhaviki only, and at the level of prema is obviously considered swabhaviki only. So, in one way, this verse can refer to this stage of sadhana, Raganuga sadhana bhakti or Raganuga bhav prema bhakti. Both are fine, but because the discussion is also there in terms of the opulence of the spiritual world, you can see Tadvasinaha. Vishwanath Chakravarti says Matparahi translates as Tatvasinaha Lokaha. जो आध्यात्मिक जगत में वास करने वाले लोग है ये, तो इसलिए they can never be influenced by time or anything like that. So in that way, yes, this verse is referring to Raganugiya Premi Bhaktas, this way. And then finally, these two verses which speak about Aswabhaviki Bhakti, which means Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. Imam lokam tathevamum atmanam ubhayayinam atmanam anu yecheha yeraya prashavo yad graha visrujya sarvan anyamscha mamevam vishvato mukham bhajantyanannaya bhaktya tan mrutyo ratiparaye. Yes, please read.
Thus, the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, in unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations to be promoted to heavenly planets or to become happy in this world with wealth, children, cattle, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death.
Yeah. And finally, this is being spoken for the devotees who are practicing bhakti over here. So he says that such devotees, when they are living in this world, we see that such devotees, whatever their own bodies or their wealth or their other possessions and everything, so they give up attachment to all that. Visrajya sarvan, giving up the attachments to all this body and everything all sorts of attachment to any other things except the Lord. Mamevam Vishwato Mukham, just everywhere, just making my pleasure as the main aspect in their life. Mamevam Vishwato Mukham means seeing me everywhere, literally. Vishwato Mukham means in all directions they see me only. Basically, they see everything as Lord's energy, and they see that all these things that I possess are also actually Lord's, for Lord's service. So they give up all the attachments. And in this way, bhajanti ananyaya bhaktya, and they worship me with ananya bhakti. So I take them to tan mrutyorati paraye. I take such devotees uh, beyond the repeated birth and death. So these devotees, although they are living in this world, so that all the attachments and all, they sincerely try to give up those attachments. So in terms of attachments and all, the description is there. So that's why this description is referring to the sadhaka bhaktas. Visrijya sarvan anyamsha, freeing them from all these attachments, seeing my hand everywhere, seeing everything as my energy. These devotees also worship me with the ananya bhakti, with the bhakti where there is no mixture of karma, jnana, yoga or anything. Then I reciprocate with them by taking them beyond the repeated birth and death. So that's how Krishna says. So Krishna also is reciprocating with these sadhak bhaktas by making sure that, by when they become qualified, then Supreme Lord is also param prapayami. He takes them beyond this repeated birth and death. So as per Vishwanath Chakravarti, this is referring to that aswabhaviki, this sadhan bhakti aspect. So yes, Prabhupada speaks about the influence of bhakti and how this Prabhupada's, especially Krishna's desire to take all the devotees back home, back to Godhead. So he speaks about this. Especially the surrender aspect he speaks here, that when one surrenders, then Krishna gives all the protection from all sinful reaction. Tan mrityor ati paraye, मैं उनको मृत्यु के परे लेके जाता हूँ. So that aspect. Anyway, we have spoken about the bhakti and the standard of bhakti. So that's why this practice is also aspiring for those qualities. So Ananya Bhakti is the path that they want to follow. So then when they follow that path, Krishna takes them back home, back to Godhead. So this is now last. So this completes this discussion of what is Uchita Bhakti. So Uchita Bhakti is the that Ananya Bhakti or Uttama Bhakti, like that. And the way to attain it is by practicing the Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So we practice Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti so that we can achieve Raganuga, and then by Raganuga we can achieve Bhava Bhakti in that way. So this transition of Vaidhi to Raganuga to Bhava, that's the way the Bhakti has been explained in, especially in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, like that. It may happen that sometimes some people may not go through Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti. They may directly go to Raganuga. It's possible sometimes somebody may get a great mercy and somebody may invoke a rag within a practitioner's heart or within a person's heart, and then in that case we see that the Raganuga, directly one becomes qualified to practice Raganuga Bhakti. So we may think like every time it has to be Vaidhi and then Raganuga and then Bhava Bhakti, but it is not right. It can be Vaidhi Raganuga Bhava, or it can be Raganuga Bhava also, that way. So there are some practitioners of Bhakti like Vallabh Vaishnavas and Pushtimargiyas, and they don't exactly practice Vaidhi Bhakti. Right from beginning, they start practicing Raganuga. Of course, when we say right from beginning, somebody starting practicing to Raganuga, it's not that they have generated the raga. It's a cultivation first. First, they start cultivating the desire for rag by hearing the pastimes in that way. Like if you see a Pushti Margiya, right in the beginning, they will tell the student to see the Lord as your son. Please worship him as your son. Don't worship him as Supreme Lord. So what is this? This is like Sambandha Anuga, right? So you are being asked to worship like that. So this aspect is there of Raganuga, where you don't see the Lord as Supreme Lord, but you see him as your son. But then a certain level of knowledge of bhakti is needed, no? If you don't tell those people that you should not eat onion garlic, you should follow four regulative principles. So these are actually Vaidhi's elements only, if you see. So if you don't explain them to these people, then they may think Lord as his own son, but then they may offer Lord something which is a bhaksha, a medhya, which is improper bhoga. So that's why there has to be some training of Vaidhi. Even if somebody is claiming to follow directly the Raganuga path, but the rules and regulations of Vaidhi Bhakti will come in picture. So I have even spoken to this Pushtimargi Acharyas, some of them and all. And then I was saying, when it is said that we should follow, I mean, this is the path which is directly Raganuga. And also, so they were explaining this point that it's not exactly like that. There are rules and regulations which we also teach people. And then in that way, they were saying, yes, it is actually then, it is rules of Maryada Marga or Vaidhi Marga. Yes, they have to be there in somewhat. So, although one may say that we are followers of Pushti Marga and not the Maryada Marga, but Maryada, some rules and regulations you have to teach to people. Otherwise, they will wreak havoc on the path of Raganuga. That way. So, that sort of cultivation is done, and at a particular point of time, then we see that there is the invoking of raga that happens. One actually develops a spontaneous attachment to Krishna, and it is irrespective of instructions or hearing of Shastra or anything like that. Initially, they also do hearing of Shastra and all that. So again, it is again Vaidhi Sadhan Bhakti's aspect. So that's why what Prabhupada has given is actually perfect, or whatever process is there of Gaudiyas that which Prabhupada has given is perfect. It is first understand the Vaidhi's rules and regulations, then also understand the importance of Raganuga, and at appropriate point of time, then those elements get added in the practice of Vaidhi, so as to then aspire for the proper goal of Raganuga, and in that particular manner. So in this way, we see that the Vaidhi leading to Raganuga, leading to Bhava, that's the proper procedure which our acharyas have spoken and they have given. So this extensive knowledge of Shastras like Sandarbhas and Bhagavatam, it is all for that purpose only, It's all part of Vaidhi. Otherwise in Raganuga शास्त्रानुपेक्षा न वर्तते. शास्त्र की वहां पे अपेक्षा ही नहीं होती है कुछ. वहां पे तो spontaneously one develops the eagerness to hear. So that sort of eagerness can come either by proper cultivation of Raganuga, or it can come by some extraordinary mercy that one receives from another Raganuga Bhakta. Then such a person we may see, even without much practice or like that, he becomes a spontaneous devotee. It is possible. By mercy, what is not possible anyway. But there is a procedure. Everywhere the rules should be followed. So similarly, for Raganuga also, even the Pushti Margis, they have a certain cultivation. And then they say that, yes, at a certain point of time, those emotions and all become more prominent that way. So anyway, we follow the way our acharyas have taught us. We accept the aspects of Vaidhi very sincerely, very seriously, And then by practice of that and also understanding the process properly, we hope to progress further. Okay. That's it. So this is last section. Now, nanyatra mad bhagvatah pradhavana purusheshwarat atmanah sarva bhutanam bhayam tivram nivartate. Yes, please read.
The terrible fear of birth and death can never be forsaken by anyone who resorts to any shelter other than myself. For I am the Almighty Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original source of all creation, and also the Supreme Soul of all souls.
Yeah. So finally, he says that here, Kapila Muni, he is ending this section by speaking that, so this is it. This is the sum and substance of the path of bhakti, that without me, without my mercy, there is no nistara, there is no, I mean, bhakti path is this, that actually without Supreme Lord, we see that there is no way one can achieve deliverance. For that matter, any other path also, they have to also be mixed with bhakti, right? So he is concluding this by saying, Mad bhaktim vina naiva nistar. Meri bhakti ke siva nistar asambhav hai. So, if somebody doesn't take my shelter, I am Bhagavan or I am Pradhana Purusheshwara, I am Paramatma Atmanah Sarvabhutanam. So, without me, Bhayam Tivram na nivartate, and this fear of material existence cannot go away. So, bhakti process, it, yes, in this way it declares, and it is a fact that without Supreme Lord, the fear of material existence will never ever go away. So every other process has to accept this aspect of bhakti. Without the surrendering process, one cannot achieve liberation. So it's more or less like conclusion now. It is stated here by Lord Kapila, without my mercy. The Lord is stated here to be Bhagavan, Bhagavatah, it is mentioned here. He is stated also as Paramatma. He is stated also as Pradhana Purusheshwara, which means the master of the spiritual world. This way. So without him, where is the scope? So if the devotee or if the demigods hear this, and if the devotees don't take shelter of demigod, because without Lord there is no recourse of liberation. So if the devotees serve only the Supreme Lord, and if the demigods become angry, then what will happen? So in answer to that, Lord speaks this thing. Devotee, because he worships only Supreme Lord, if he doesn't worship Devatas, then what will happen? Will the Devatas not become angry? So if this was the question on the mind of Devahuti, so he is answering with this next verse. Madbhayad vati vatoyam suryastapati madbhayad varshati indro dahatyagnir mrityuscharati madbhayad. Yes.
It is because of my supremacy that the wind blows. Out of fear of me, the sun shines. Out of fear of me, and the Lord of the clouds, Indra, sends forth showers out of fear of me. Fire burns out of fear of me, and death goes about taking its toll out of fear of me.
Exactly. So yes, you don't have to worry about the demigods, because all these demigods, they are actually, they are under my subjugation, and they are worried about my displeasure. They want to please me always. So there is no question of demigods troubling a devotee or like that. They are all acting under my instruction. So bhaya here is not so much like some criminal being fearful of the police. No, devatas, they have the fear of displeasing the Supreme Lord. They don't want to displease him. And that's why it's a respectful fear. And that's why they follow his instructions and they run their own departments this way. So they are not going to trouble the devotees. Krishna is saying here that if they trouble, then तांस्तात अधिकाराद अपि अधः पातयितुं नैवाहं विलम्बे. तो I will immediately make them fall from their positions. Then I will knock them out of their positions if they start troubling devotees or like that, this way. So basically he is saying that the demigods are never ever going to trouble the devotees because they are all under my instructions. So they are happy that somebody is becoming a devotee of the Lord. Sometimes very rarely for some pastime sake and all we see some contrary behavior. Or sometimes they may get puffed up and they make mistakes also. Like Indra commits that mistake of becoming displeased with Brajvasis, but then he is taught a lesson also. So yes, it happens sometimes because of pride and all, they may do those mistakes. But otherwise, yes, demigod's nature is that they are happy somebody becomes a devotee. They are very, very happy. They are celebrating that this way. Okay. ज्ञान वैराग्य युक्तेन भक्ति योगेन योगिनः क्षेमाय पादमूलं मे प्रविशन्त्य कुतो भयम्. Yes,
A
bro, please
yogi
read.
is equipped with transcendental knowledge and renunciation and engage in devotional service for their eternal benefit, take shelter of my lotus feet. And since I am the Lord, they are thus eligible to enter into the kingdom of Godhead without fear.
Yeah. So yes, by bhakti, which is also coupled with jnana and vairagya and all that, such devotees, then they are able to achieve me, achieve my lotus feet, akuto bhayam, which is the fearless shelter. So bhakti is not devoid of jnana and vairagya and all. Everything is within bhakti. So such devotees in this way, they are able to achieve my lotus feet. Or Vishwan Chakravarti says that this refers to Yoga Mishra Bhaktas, the Bhaktas which practice bhakti primarily, but they sometimes may uh, insert some yoga elements and all that. Then such devotees also we see that they achieve Shantarati and they achieve the spiritual world in Shantarasa. Whether you take these words to mean general devotees or you take it to mean bhakti, yoga mishra bhaktas or jnana mishra bhaktas, anything is fine. The conclusion is that one cannot be sure of entrance into the spiritual realm in either the impersonal Brahmajyoti or Vaikuntha planets unless he is surrendered unto the personality of Godhead. That's the conclusion, right? We saw that how it is needed even in the path of jnana or yoga. Without that, it is impossible. एतावानेव लोकेस्मिन् पुंसां निःश्रेयसोदयः तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन मनोमय्यर्पितं स्थिरम्.
Therefore, persons whose minds are thus fixed on the Lord engage in the intensive practice of devotional service. That is the only means for attainment of the final perfection of life.
Yeah. So this in fact is Nishreyasodayah. This is the attainment of the ultimate perfection, Nishreyasodaya. What? Tivrena bhakti yogena manomayarpitam sthiram. So maybe Nishreyasa is achieved by other paths also, as per the definitions or destinations of other on their own paths. But then etavaneva, this only, Kapila is saying actually, this only is the attainment of Nishreyasa. What? Tivrena bhakti yogena manomayarpitam sthiram. If you practice the intense devotional service, tivrena, devoid of karma jnana, yoga and all that, if you practice such bhakti and by that if you make your heart, make your mind stabilized in me, that will, that's arising the nishreyas, that will give you the nishreyas. And literally it is saying nishreyasodaya, udaya, udaya. The rise of nishreyasa will happen if one practices Ananya Bhakti, Uttama Bhakti, Nirguna Bhakti, Atyantiki Bhakti, and by that he stabilizes his mind at my lotus feet. And then we see that the Nishreyas is around the corner. Mano Mayyarpitam, Krishna also says, right, Maya Vesha Mano Yemam. To be fixed steadily in that freedom is the way of liberation. Shreyas Udaya, way of liberation, Prabhupada also says. Because the mind is the master of senses. When the mind is engaged, then the senses become engaged. So it's very, very important that the mind is engaged in bhakti. These aspects like mind, buddhi, the subtle senses, the subtle body has to be engaged very nicely. Then the gross body will remain also engaged. Initially, we may begin with gross body, but then, yeah, as we want to make progress, then we have to worry about, is our subtle body being engaged in properly in Krishna's service? thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of third canto, 25th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Glories of Devotional Service. So thank you all very much. We finished this chapter. We were supposed to finish one more. But yeah, I sort of lost some time also in between because of my own engagement, because I'm preparing some things for another teaching. And then, yeah, we also didn't have on the days of Ekadashi and all. So I could finish only this much. But I hope it was useful in some way, because these are very important concepts. So text chapter 29 is also very amazing. Nirguna Bhakti will be further elaborated. So we'll see that in the next unit. Hopefully we will meet in November. Looks like that. But thank you very much for your patient listening. If there was anything which was confusing or which you want to clarify later, maybe we can do that in some way. Whatever concepts I'm speaking, some of you may have heard it before, you may know. For some of you, some may be new, and then you may have some clarification and all. But yeah, right now we will stop today. It's already 2:36. But yeah, if there are some questions and all, maybe Vilasvardhan Prabhu or like you can suggest some way how we can take them, or we can take them in the next unit or something like that. Thank you very much. If anything you didn't like which I spoke, so apologies for that also. But yeah, I appreciate your patient hearing, because many times I extended. Somehow I have to also plan my life in a better way. Certain responsibilities are there on me, because of which it has become a bit unpredictable. But if I get that factor right, then I can be more available for this core teaching and all these aspects, Thank you, Vilasvardhan Prabhu, and all the devotees. So let's meet in further sessions. We will stop here for today. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Guruji. Actually, I think after 2-3 years
Yeah,
trying you, finally we got you at last.
I was going to come for first unit, then I was going to come for Chatushloki, then I was going to come for Kumara's episode, but I couldn't come. So at least for Kapila section, I thought. So you have to tolerate then all these things. My dynamics of the schedule, then you have to tolerate sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, I also seek your prayers, all of you, that yes, my schedule becomes a little bit peaceful. Right now I have to look after management and some fundraising also for Mahavidyalaya. So it becomes difficult, but I want to be available for teaching actually primarily. So that it's all very nourishing for me also. I don't know about you, but for me it is nourishing. That way.
We
Okay.
can, the way you are absorbed and the way you are absorbing us is very seen, Guruji. And as you only said on the first day, it was very, we are not tripped. We are pushed. We are very satisfied, not satiated. So we'll have to really seek your association again. So next date, Prabhu's will be 10th to 14th November. Prabhuji has kindly agreed to give his time again. So 10 to 14th November, please you can mark. I'll send mail also. So that time we'll get Prabhuji again. In
Yeah,
case
mostly
of,
I will be in Pune only that time. Yes.
Yes, President.
I will
That
be
will
in
be
Pune
best
only.
time.
Yes.
So that time by request of Prabhuji, we can complete our entire Kapila's
We
teachings
can.
under you.
We can.
That will be
It's
best.
just that, yeah, we'll have to plan, yes, in maybe a little bit extra we can take.
Yes, yes, sure. We all will plan everything according to your that period.
We can
Thank you
do.
so much. So let us thank Prabhuji by heartily chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Grace Kanai Krishna Prabhu ki.
Jai,
Srila
Srila
Prabhupada
Prabhupada
ki
Jai,
jai. Srila
Jai,
Bhagavad Mahapuranam ki jai.
Jai.
Jai. Thank you very
Okay.
much, Prabhu.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so
Let's
much.
meet soon. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. किसी को कुछ क्वेश्चन है क्या सेम है?
था बहुत सारा था।
छोटे छोटे क्वेश्चन है, ज्यादा बड़े नहीं है।
किसी का कुछ प्रेसिंग है क्या? ऐसा कुछ है क्या? प्रेसिंग है तो आई कैन सेंड प्रभु जी नंबर, व्हाट्सएप पे भेज सकते हैं अगर कुछ है तो।
नहीं तो प्रो एक मेल कंपाइल कर दीजिए, भेज दीजिए कॉमन में
अरे,
सबका आंसर।
प्रभु जी नहीं करते हो, प्रभु जी राधेश्याम की तरह नहीं है सारे मेल रिप्लाई करने वाले। प्रभु जी लाइक्स टू लाइक्स टू ऐसा वन टू वन टाइप ऑफ emails. So I think you all can write it again. We'll have Proji session again, है ना? So if they are not very pressing, then we'll, अगर वो थोड़े शास्त्री की हैं तो we'll clarify them in the next sessions 10 to 14th November, कार्तिक महीने के जस्ट खत्म होने के बाद में।
तो अब नेक्स्ट क्लास कब है? ये जो आ रहा था कि कल वेंसडे थर्सडे फ्राइडे क्लास है वेणुगोपाल प्रभु की, वो
नहीं
है
तो
कि?
वही ना, प्रभु जी एग्री की है कि प्रभु जी लेंगे आगे का पार्ट, बिकॉज क्या है ना, सेम टीचर से सीखेंगे तो ही नोज व्हाट ही हैज टॉट बिफोर,
हम्म
देन ही कैन स्पीक अकॉर्डिंगली लेटर आल्सो। एंड अभी
हम्म
हमने ये यूनिट कंप्लीट ही नहीं किया है, एक ही चैप्टर हुआ है, तो बेटर रहेगा
हम्म
कि प्रभु जी ले, so that he will take it from his perspective completely, overall perspective से। तो next teacher will take from another perspective, at least ये पूरा एक ही section है तो let प्रभु जी take it।
तो ठीक
थोड़ा
है,
टाइम
मतलब
ज़्यादा लेंगे पर मुझे नहीं लगता इतना कोई इशू है, any of us are not in hurry anyways।
नहीं, हमारे कोई ऐसा वो नहीं है कि डिग्री चाहिए, जॉब पे जाना है, तो आप आराम से पढ़ाओ, कोई जल्दबाजी नहीं। तो मतलब कल परसों क्लास नहीं है अभी, वैसे थर्सडे फ्राइडे। तो बेसिकली
अरे बाप रे,
हमारा
कल
पूरा
परसों भी क्लास थी?
हाँ। तो
क्या
मतलब
प्रभु जी?
हमारा
नहीं 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 मुझे याद, मुझे 10 तारीख याद था, बट 10 तारीख कल परसों है ऐसे याद नहीं है। हाँ, तो कल परसों भी क्लास थी मेरे, मैंने वो मार्क करके नहीं रखा था, तो अभी ठीक है इसलिए मिला।
अब तो क्लास नहीं है, तो ठीक है।
10th नवंबर।
अब सीधा अब नवंबर में क्लास है, अक्टूबर में यात्रा, इसलिए क्लास नहीं है।
हाँ नहीं, प्रभु जी भी अवेलेबल नहीं है अक्टूबर में।
हाँ ठीक है, अक्टूबर हेक्टिक है, सितंबर का हो ही गया। ठीक।
और दूसरा ये बोलना था कि एक्चुअली समहाउ डिवोटीज का जो एग्जाम और ये है कुछ लोगों का काफी लैक हो रहा है।
हम्म
वंशीवर्धन वो कह रहे थे कि
तो एक रिपोर्ट एक्चुअली किसी को याद भी नहीं है कि कितना कितना लैगिंग है।
कुछ तो शर्म
नहीं, मेरे को
करो।
याद है, मैं अपनी शक्तियां इकट्ठी कर रहा हूँ, जल्दी खत्म कर दूंगा।
मेरे को बस पता है कि मेरा एक सीबीआई पेंडिंग है, बाकी ओबीए कितना पेंडिंग है मेरे को याद नहीं है। याद है मतलब 20 में दिया है, कुछ कुछ भूल गया
देखिए,
हूँ कौन सी
एक्चुअली मैं
यूनिट
ये
का।
इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ, अभी अगले महीने कुछ क्लास नहीं हो, तो प्लीज प्लीज हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट, जो बचा हो सब कुछ है आपका, वो कवर कर लीजिए इस टाइम में।
सही।
आपको जो भी हेल्प चाहिए, बीबीआरबी इज रेडी। और क्या है फिर, सी अदरवाइज आई विल नॉट कीप एग्जाम ओनली, अननेसेसरली मेरे लिए हेडेक होता है हर बार एग्जाम ऑर्गेनाइज करना, और डिवोटीज एग्जाम देते नहीं प्रॉपरली। सो इफ यू ऑल वांट टू डू लाइक दिस देन इज अनदर, क्या है ना, सी आपके हमको समझना चाहिए कि हमको इजी करने के लिए एक डे फिक्स किया गया है, डेट फिक्स किया था, कि एक प्रेशर रहता है कि चलो ये दिन है कर लेंगे। अगर आप ऐसे उसको छोड़ते जाएंगे तो कभी माइंड में रहेगा ही नहीं करना है उनको। तो इसलिए वो एग्जाम का डेट रखा है, तो अभी ये यूनिट खत्म नहीं हुई है तो इसका एग्जाम नहीं रहेगा। अभी सिर्फ एक ही यूनिट है जो हमारी इन्होंने ली थी चैतन्य प्रसाद प्रभु में, उसका ही एग्जाम है। तो वो एग्जाम हम कार्तिक यात्रा के जस्ट पहले करेंगे,
ठीक।
12-13 नवंबर को, वो अक्टूबर को। तो और उसके साथ में अब आपके बाकी के जो भी हैं, अभी एक महीना है ऑलमोस्ट उस एग्जाम को
तो
भी, तो
ये रिपोर्ट भेज दीजिए ना।
ठीक है। मैं वो पूछता हूँ आप
नहीं
जी।
नहीं, वो बीवीआरबी पे शायद ऑनलाइन लॉगिन है, वहां पे दिख जाएगा
हाँ
शायद।
दिख जाएगा आपको, उसमें आपकी
हाँ हाँ
आईडी
वो
डाल
बता दीजिए,
देंगे।
मैं देख लूंगा मेरा कौन कौन सा बंदी फंडी है।
बीबीआरबी ऑनलाइन पे जाइए, वहाँ पे आपका ईमेल आईडी और फोन नंबर लिखिए, पासवर्ड आ
हाँ
जाएगा, उसमें मिल जाएगा।
ठीक
ओके, थैंक यू प्रभु, श्रील
ओके,
प्रभुपाद की
जय।
है।
जय जय।